Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome TikTok family. Welcome YouTube family. Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone. Get on in here. Hello Nicole Newsom, King Asar. Welcome, welcome Thunder and L. We got an interesting topic today and some bonus stuff. So, welcome. Come on in here. We're going to be talking about ancestral magic, the things that we have covered in our spiritual roots hoodoo community on Patreon. We covered ancestral magic. Again, a wonderful topic to break down how you inherited hoodoo and how magic is already in your DNA and understanding what's in our DNA. So, we're going to talk about ancestral magic. That is a topic that we covered over there in our community. So if you want to learn more about hoodoo, what you inherited, what you already have in your DNA, and possibly how to access it, you probably want to be on this live stream. Welcome, TikTok family. Welcome, YouTube family. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to have a fun little topic today. And you guys know I'm kind of nerdy, so we're going to jump right into it. Because again, I have to show you the scientific parts of magic for you to really understand it so you won't be shooting in the dark and for you to understand hoodoo and what you inherited because it's already in you. What I find is the people of African diaspora in our community, uh, again, it takes a lot of empowerment, it takes a lot of encouragement from mentors to help you open up that part of yourself because we just haven't not been educated about what's in our DNA or what we're looking at when it does happen. So again, understanding that the magic is already in you. Now we have covered this topic. If you're in our community, over there in Spiritual Roots on Patreon. We've already covered this topic thoroughly, and you had some goodies that I given you to help you start opening that up. We're going to talk about that too. How do we open ourselves up to our ancestral magic? And I'll probably talk about this topic again after we cover ancestral magic. And what is ancestral magic? What is it to us as practitioners that experience again African diaspora that was displaced and disconnected from our culture? What is it to us? Ancestral magic is the practice of remembering and honoring those who came before us in ways that turn memory into movement. It is not just a ritual you perform, it is a recognition that your ancestors live within you as living memory. Their presence is carried in your blood, written in your DNA, stored in your bones, and imprinted in your nervous system. Every fear, every song, every prayer, every act of survival that your people lived through still echoes in your body right now today. I have to get you to understand that because the second thing we start to do is start working on your nervous system because you inherited trauma. It's hard for me to get you to sit down and understand that before you start touching stuff. Then you wonder why it's not working because our nervous system is shot to hell. There's trauma in it. You got to remember your ancestors went through almost 1,000 years of all sort of racism and and experience traumatic just had traumatic experiences. So that's in your DNA. I have to get you to understand that. I don't know why you would want to be touching anything before trying to clear that out. But just as you inherited that, you also inherited the magic of your ancestors. And in order to unlock that healing, if you're going to be calling on your most elevated ancestors, healing is a byproduct of unlocking those gifts. I would say that again. Healing is a byproduct of unlocking that gift. Ancestral magic is both spiritual art and an ancient science. It reveals that memory does not die. It's carried through our blood, our bones, and the energy that animates us. Long before laboratories and genetics, our ancestors knew that the human body is a living archive. Every heartbeat, every breath is infused with the memory of those who came before. We are our ancestors. We are the most recent, updated, upgraded blueprint of our ancestors, and we're consistently supposed to be evolving into our best selves, resetting the blueprint, making our ancestors proud of us as we heal and do things they were not able to do in their era. Modern science has begun to confirm that the elders and root doctors have always taught. Our DNA remembers. Deep within our cells, the mitochondrial DNA passed down exclusively from mother to child holds the light of our ancient mothers and the spiritual intelligence they carry. Okay, that's where that knowledge is coming from. It's coming from the earliest mothers. Okay, and tapping back into that. Tapping. How do we tap into it? How do we tap back in? A lot of people want to know how to tap back into it. Get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. Stop listening to people. Start healing. Get somewhere, sit down, and hush your mouth. And stop listening to people and listen to what's going on the inside of you because it's in there. It's in there. If you get somewhere and sit down and trust what's on the inside of you, I'm telling you, what you're looking at and listening to people, it's a hindrance and a distraction to you. Oh, thank you, Sharice. It's a distraction to you. You need to be listening, going within. You think the answer's on the outside. No, 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 no. The answers are on the inside of you. But you got to get somewhere and sit down and hush your mouth and stop trying to follow people. And see, that's what we focus on in our community. We focus on you following you, getting your ancestor veneration together. We call on your most elevated ancestors, getting the family members off because most of them was touched by trauma and wasn't able to do the deep dive healing that you're doing right now with your bloodline. So we call it on the most elevated ancestors, the ones that was shamans, that was practitioners, that was healers. We call on them the saints. That's who we call on. Let our family members rest and we pray for them. If they want to work with us, then we find out how they want to work with us because they have specific things they want to do with you. They're not going to do everything with you when you start working with family. It's particular things they will do for you. The elevated ancestors are always there, willing and strong enough to help you with any feat as long as you are healing. It's the byproduct of healing. That's the initiation process. You think it's going to be a person that initiates you? No, it's going to be them spirits. I'm telling you right now. This is the initiation process because there's nothing going to shake and move or you won't see no healing in your life until you go within. You got to change that inner world. You got to build that inner world. You got to recreate that inner world because in a lot of us, it's chaos. You can't make magic out of chaos. A lot of us confused, got anxiety, rage issues, anger issues from generations of trauma. Quite naturally, probably our just still playing out in our family. So that healing has to be ongoing. And when you again resetting your DNA, and especially if you're young, you're able to pass a lot of this memory down to your children. Do it now, especially if you're young. Do the deep dive. You have the advantage right now to do this healing and see major shifts in your life and have ongoing support of your ancestors. But the healing is no way around it. I don't know why with anybody. I don't know anybody that's practicing this the science of magic that's not doing healing work because it comes up. It's the level up. It is the major level up of your spiritual practices. The mastery of self, the mastery of mind and emotions. You're going to need that. Okay, our ancestors already knew that. Science now supports what root workers and spiritual healers have always known. Trauma can be inherited through bloodline. Epigenetic research shows that emotional pain and stress alter gene expressions, meaning that the suffering of our ancestors can influence our present mental, emotional, and spiritual state. It most definitely can. And that's what we're in right now. A lot of us are in survival mode. You're wondering why your stuff can't shake and move because you need to regulate your nervous system, beloved. You sick, okay? It's not your fault. We're not blaming you. But your ancestors knew that's why they left hoodoo to heal your life. I'm just gonna tell you, baby, it will heal your life when you start unlocking that knowledge inside of you and get somewhere and sit down and start regulating your nervous system. Start doing the healing, go in, cry, be mad, feel those all those range of emotions and start purging them out. Go to therapy. It needs to fall off of you so when you get ready to do your work, you are light, you are free. Okay? I mean, we have a, I constantly we're going to continue, and you'll see this in recurring themes when you learn about ancestral veneration. It's not a book that I don't pick up from a root doctor, from a conjure person who does not talk about the ancestral healing, the ancestors work, aka shadow work. That's not that you. It's going to be there. It's not a book or a cult book or nothing that I pick up that this is not right in front of us. So I don't know why you would, and I do apologize. This is not being broken down to you, but I'm breaking it down for you today, beloved. So when you do decide to do this, you know what you're doing. Okay. Now let's look at the nervous system. The nervous system imprints. When we talk about ancestral magic, we cannot ignore the body, your nervous system, the network of nerves that runs through your brain, spine, and organs carries both your personal experiences and your ancestral memory. It's already there. It's already in you, beloved. That's why when you come to me and you start having these experiences when you got somewhere and sit down and you consistent with your rituals and you start having these experiences, it trips you out because you think you're making it up. And you're not making it up. It is memory coming up. You get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. First of all, Caleb, you get somewhere and get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. I would recommend that you do some a deep dive into shadow work because shadow work is ancestors work. That's where the medicine is. That's where the power is. You have to go in the darkness to go bring that light out and then integrate it. Pieces. I started to feel see and it's trippy. Okay. I will be writing those, what I can remember, I'll be writing down if I were you. But again, going within. Trauma leaves an imprint on the system, shaping how you breathe, how fast your heart races, how quickly you go into fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. I think a lot of us that are in there, because I know I'm speaking from my experience. When I really started doing ancestors work, I really started to see the PTSD in myself, the triggers. I was like, oh my gosh. And it was just from the environment, from living in an environment where the color of my skin is the threat. But I've normalized it. We have normalized it so long we don't recognize that we have PTSD. You don't know it until you start healing, until you start paying attention to your body and your interaction with people, and you like, yeah, I still got this. And trying to calm your nervous system down, but you're not paying attention because there are so many distractions with social media and all this other crap. So you can pacify your wounds. There's a lot of pacifying going on with the wounds. Nothing is being really done until you're triggered. And then that thing rears its ugly head. That's usually how it goes. For many of us, these patterns were not just formed in our own lifetime, they were handed down. And your ancestors If your ancestors lived through slavery, colonization, war, or famine, their nervous systems were constantly in survival mode, and that imprint got passed forward to us. This is science now. You won't see it until I tell you to get somewhere and sit down and you can't do it. And you start making up excuses of why you ain't got time. That's usually how that happens. When I tell you to start doing self care and get somewhere and sit down, I can tell when you're in survival mode because you will make up excuses of why you can't do it. And the first thing people say is time. And you will understand once you start making time to put this in your life, start integrating the work and the rituals in your life, time begins to be into you. It just happens like that. It's like something shifts. You go into another realm and time seems to be on your side. I've been doing work actively for almost 2 years now. Congratulations, Monique. I hope your journey is going well and that you're having beautiful experiences with the ancestors. Okay. But you won't know until I tell you get somewhere and sit down. And this be most people hindrance. They're passing the altar, not getting over there doing any altar work. They don't have any activity going on that altar. It's not active at all. I like how you're breaking it down. I really needed to hear this. You're welcome, sis. They have no, they're just passing out. They don't have no, you need to get somewhere over there and sit down and start doing some work on it. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. We go into a variety of things that you can do to elevate your ancestors on your altar, act, a variety of activities that you feel led to do with your ancestors. But there should be activity and presence and time being spent on that altar because time is uh, uh, a priceless thing to currency to pay when you're dealing with ancestors. They want you can't you remember you can get money, but you can't get time back. And they appreciate time. And those spirits is watching you. Your ancestors, your most elevated ancestors are watching you. They're looking at your sincerity. They're looking at your tenacity. They're looking at your how earnest you are. And they go by trust. When they see you being consistent, you'll start seeing some shifts happen in your life. I guarantee it. I can stand on business on this. This I know. This I know. I done seen it. I done talked to too many people that take this approach and they have seen shifts. Okay? You need to get somewhere and sit down and get in front of that altar, eat with them, pray with them, sing with them, tell them what's going. They are your therapist now. Look at the ancestors like your therapist. They'll fix your life if you let them. When you want to pick up and call your friend and tell them everything about your business, why don't you run to that altar? That's when you should be opening your mouth. That's the time we should be opening our mouth, not telling nobody our business. They want to know all about your business, but you over there telling Ray Ray and Susan May all your stuff, and they don't care. They don't give a hill of beans about what you got going on. They're your third. Yeah, you don't know if the altar work because you ain't going there. And I get people say, "Well, I've been feeling bad and depressed. That's why I ain't been going." That's when you need to go. What are you talking about? That's why it's there. You need to run over there when you're sad, depressed, and mad. That's when you go. That's how you can tell if it's working. How you feel when you leave there. Because it's for shifting. It's for shifting your mind, your spirit. It's for healing. That's what it's there for. If you let it be. But you got to get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. A lot of us don't want to do that. Just hush your mouth. Hi, how you doing, Raquel? How you doing, Adija Abrahams? Hello, hello, hello. You're so welcome for the subject. Welcome TikTok family and YouTube family. But you got to get somewhere and sit down. It's imperative. Don't know about everybody want to do everything else. It trips me out. Everybody want to do everything else and pick stuff up and run from here and there. But don't nobody want to sit down and be quiet. They don't want to spend 20 to 30 minutes out of their day for self care to connect back to your original state with your spiritual state. to go into those inner realms and see what's inside you. Nobody wants to do that healing journey and ancestral connection, reflection, your healing. How do you know if they are really around helping you? Ask for a sign. We are the only one that complicate ancestral veneration. And I don't know, it's because we feel displaced and we feel like our ancestors can't connect with us. But I'm telling you from experience, they can. I'm telling you, anytime, any place, anywhere, through anybody, nothing stops the reach of the ancestors. They hear you. They are not far off like this God you've been talking about through Christianity. That is not them. See, we got to reprogram our mind and ask for a sign. When you get the sign, obey the sign, even when you don't like it. Because sometimes we get the sign and we don't like the message. Or sometimes we get the message and we don't like the messenger. Okay, can you do a video on how to do ancestor vengeance? What do you mean by ancestors vengeance? And we don't do vengeance over here. We do justice work. We do justice work right here. We don't do vengeance, revenge. We don't do that. We do justice work. Okay, I use divination and muscle testing to validate their messages. That's a nice thing to do. This is true. Okay. How do you have a YouTube channel? Yes, and it's the same name that I'm on now. I have a YouTube channel. Somebody was saying something. I'm just looking, how do you know if you're really around and helping you? Okay, you ask for a sign. We're the only one who's complicated that. And I think it's because of the nervous system. We can't we can't think straight because when you're in survival mode. Okay. And it's really simple. It's best to keep your practices simple. I recommend when you get over there in our community, anything I tell you to keep it simple. When your ancestors start teaching you how to work with herbs and stuff, they're not going to have you working with a whole bunch of herbs. They might have you working with one thing. I got people over there working with one thing their ancestors got them doing, and it's working. Now, as you grow, your practice will get more advanced, but keep it simple. Stop looking at people and listen to your ancestors because that's the initiation process. Learning how to listen to spirit. I use psychic mediums and ask for ancestors have a mess for me. I wouldn't recommend that. Why would you need somebody else to talk to your ancestors and they are with you? Again, that's why we recommend divination, uh, for you to start practicing some sort of divination, be it a pendulum, dowsing, whatever you choose, water, I don't care. But there needs to be some communication going on with you and your ancestors to, again, refine your psychic abilities. Your ancestors was natural necromancers. So why would you need somebody? Again, they're going to help you develop that if you're consistent at that altar. I'm talking about the ones who practice hoodoo. Which ancestors do I contact? We call on our most beloved, elevated ancestors. That's all we call on. We call on the best ones, the most bright ones, the saints, the elders. We call on them. We stand tall on them. That's who we call on. Our most elevated, beloved ancestors. I'll say this again for the people in the back because I ask this question. I know what they're telling you. But we call on the Orishas again. That's you. Don't put the cart before the horse. Why would the Orishas want to talk to you, and you haven't built a relationship with your ancestors? You don't know the language of spirit. The ancestors, if they want you to know the Orishas, they'll bring them to you. We don't put anything before the ancestors. Nothing comes before establishing a relationship with our ancestors, even an initiation into a religion. Okay? I misspelled the word. Can you? I meant veneration, but my veneration says something. Okay, can you? Veneration is very easy. It's just that simple. Again, we call on our most elevated ancestors. You make up the choice whether you want to start off with libations or if you want to uh, pick up an altar. And it goes by relationship. The more you're consistent with your ancestors, the more consistent they are with helping you in your life. It's a relationship. These spirits don't give a. I'm gonna tell you, these spirits up here, they don't give a damn about your money. They give a damn about your time, because you can't get your time back. Do you understand me? Time has more value than it is your money. So when they see you spending time refining yourself and putting your intentions and refining yourself and uh, trying to establish a relationship with them, you will start to see shifts happen because they seeing how much time you putting in it. Time, that's why people paying you for your time, because your time is more valuable than the money than they're offering you. But you won't understand it until you start getting your butt somewhere and sitting down, okay? Just hush your mouth. Just keep your mouth shut and stop doing raggedy stuff. Just don't do ragged, because these are elevated ancestors. I'm talking about saints. I'm talking about angelic beings, higher beings, galactic beings. You cannot do raggedy stuff with them. And they require you to be on a certain frequency to work with you. That's why healing needs to happen. If your frequency is too low, you're not going to be able to do certain things. I have to talk to you like that because people got you thinking you could pick up something and it's going to happen tomorrow. No, there is a variables in there. There is a science to this. So you just sit with self and call upon the ancestors in meditation. Is that what you do? Is that the way you want to do it? What do you think you should do, Caleb? Because I get people that come in here, and what I'm seeing here is that you're complicating that. You're complicated. All you got to do is reach out. You can pour libations and do some contemplations and sit with yourself. Be consistent at it. If you really want them to be in your life, be consistent with them. Don't just pass the altar and don't do nothing there and sit there. There needs to be something going on. There's some healing work, conversations need to be going on. Some meditation, especially meditation, because now more than ever, you need to be tapping into your psychic abilities. And they are the ones who are going to help you with that. We're going to talk about that a little bit in a minute. And we're diving deep into that now because this is the mystery behind the science that a lot of people don't come here and talk to you about, but I'm going to tell you here, and you're probably not going to even know what you're getting, because when I give it to people, they miss this whole step in their journey because they're too busy trying to follow other people or listening to what other people are saying. Your magic is in you, not outside you, and that is the big thing. Is learning how to unlock those inner worlds. What do babies do? The This since they know nothing. I don't know. I don't know what you're saying in that question. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand that question you're asking me. It doesn't make sense, Joshua. I understand that question. Okay. So again, you have to get somewhere and sit down. Okay. This is why some of us, again, feel anxiety for no reason, why we get triggered even when no one hurt us directly, or why certain environments instantly make us tense. The body remembers what the mind doesn't. I know when I get around, and I don't mean no harm, if it's too many pale people around me, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be there, and I am the only person, a brown person there. I don't like to be instantly, and I don't know why. And I think this is an ancestral thing. Instantly, I start picturing them in white sheets and stuff. Instantly, instantly, I'm just like, what is going on? That's in my DNA. I instantly, when I'm around a whole bunch of pale faced people, and I am the only brown person of color there, instantly I start to see them in sheets. Even though that's not happening, that's the memory, that is the flash that come before my eyes. I have to hurry up and get out of there. I can't be around a whole bunch of them. I just can't. I cannot. Do not trust, that's in my DNA. Why? Because all that stuff happened to our ancestors. Did I know it was there? Absolutely not. Not until I start paying attention to my body and my responses in different places. children that just want to play and explore in this life, how do they protect themselves? Children that want to play and explore in this life. Hmm, that's an interesting question. I would think that children are always protected until they become conscious. Most children live in a altered, they don't even live, they live in a magical world between this world and the one that came after us. So they are more close to the spiritual realm than us. They are more protected than us as well in such communication practices. Okay. And so again, you remember that you probably has not paid attention or you have fought it off and said, oh, that's just my mind. No, that's the ancestral memory that's coming up is telling you to get the hell out of there. It's ancestral memory saying these people are not safe. Why do you think when that stuff happened with that man where he at right now, all of us said we gonna sit down? It's ancestral memory. The ancestors say sit down. What are all of us doing? Sitting down, line dancing, not studying that. It's ancestral. Don't nobody have to really tell us. We collectively agreed on that. We didn't have to pick up the phone and call each other to do that. Our ancestors was tired. We said we're gonna sit this one out and just focus on healing. That is what we're doing. You think, oh, somebody told you to do it. No, the ancestors inside you, the DNA is ready to heal. It's been ready to heal. That's what we're doing, tripping them out because they're mad because we won't go out there and do a whole bunch of marching. Nobody's doing that with you anymore. Y'all gonna fix this. We're gonna sit this one out and just heal. We just gonna practice on joy, faith, and love. That's what we're gonna do. And they don't understand that. But that's what happens when you dealing with the narcissist. We still begin to focus on self. That's what's happening here. We're in a narcissistic relationship with our government. The government is a narcissist. Look at it that way. And the people are the flying monkeys of the narcissist. That's a good way to look at it. That's the way I look at it because it's on a mass scale. It's psychosis, spiritual psychosis on a mass scale. And if you don't begin, if you know, when you begin to heal, you see it. It's right there in your face. We're gonna go over this even more. Why you should be spiritually aware and really deeply immersed in your ancestral spiritual practice now more than ever, because you're in spiritual warfare that you don't quite comprehend. And I'm surprised people are not speaking more about it. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Miss Penn. Ancestors before the reach. Okay. Ancestors lead you to the reaches. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna always say that. Don't be picking up nothing. If them ancestors just send them rolling up on you like that, if they not rolling up on you themselves, the lowest or the reaches, don't go reaching for them. Believe me, if your ancestors want you to work with them, they'll start rolling up on you in your dreams. You'll start getting some type of indication that you need to work with them. But first, establish a strong link with your ancestors. And if you choose to work with them, ask your ancestors. Let them set that up. They know what they're doing. They know the language of spirit. You don't. You need their help. You need their help. That's why you're working with them. Without their guidance and wisdom, you wouldn't be able to do the things that you do. Okay, so keep that in mind. Don't go out here, and they're in the initiation. I don't care what people are showing you going into these different religions. At the bottom line, your goal is to come in contact with a spirit, and that's what happens over here in hoodoo. If you put in the work, it's spiritual. It's no way around it. How do I set up a relationship with ancestors? Start talking to your most elevated ancestors, pouring libations, being consistent with speaking with them. Not no flyby type of I'm gonna do it this time and I want you to work out miracles for me. No, it's consistency. Much love to everyone. No worries you're worried about. Have gratitude. Okay. Okay. So if you put in the work, again, if you're consistent with your ancestors, you're giving life. It's just that simple. And wait for a sign. If you want something from them, ask for a sign. Wait for a sign. When you get the sign, know that it is the sign. Do not doubt it. Most of it be a doubt, or you believe you can't do it, or you don't think you can talk to them. All of that stuff has to be dismissed. You have to now we could just cover that over there. We're getting ready to cover that about divination tools. Again, I would say what resonates with you. Is it tarot? Is it pendulum? Pendulum is an easy thing to start off with to keep all the keep it simple. Just keep it simple. Pendulum is the most simplest thing you can do. Pendulum is just keep it simple. So if you're still confused about that, and if you feel like something resonates with you, that's your ancestors that's pushing you to do it. If it resonates, that's the ancestors. That's them. Your intuition leads you there. That is your ancestors leading you to do it. Can you write to them in black religious households? Can you write to them? I don't understand that question. I like using pendulums. Okay. But there needs to be some type of divination going on there. And if you see something that you're attracted to, because it's a variety of divinations. It's so many. Some people use scrying, some people use pendulums, some people use tarot, some people use fire, some people use candles, some people use the Bible, some people use the air, some people use nature. It's just I can go on and on with divination. Some people read teas, some people do palm readings. I can go on and on with divination. So the list goes, it's just endless. So there is an inner thing that you have to figure out, not me. And that's the thing. I got to get you trusting you too, because a lot of us want to be told what to do, and we don't want to go inside and find out what is the best thing for us to do. We don't even know ourselves enough to make the best choice for us, and that's what needs to happen. That's what's lacking. I use nature, candles, and air. We're speaking out loud since I'm in a toxico. I don't know, like, can I write to my ancestors and connect with them? Yes, you can. Okay, you can write to your ancestors. There's a lot of petitioning going on and writing and stuff with our ancestors when we make petitions and with any spirit. So yes, you can write that. Okay. Again, consistency is going to uh, be paramount, and then being in alignment with what you're asking for. Don't ask them to do things for you, and you ain't in alignment with it. You want money, but you ain't looking for no job. You have no way for them to get money to you. Okay? Magic has to make sense. Magic works because you're already in an alignment with it, and your magic amplifies it, giving it the results that you want. That's how it works. It's not, you know, you have to be in alignment with it. And the best way to start getting yourself in line with it is start raising your vibrations and frequency. How do we do that? We do that through shadow work, aka ancestor work, the most beloved elevated ancestors. Yes, that's all we call on here. I know you want your family to be up there, and people have told you to have family on your altars. I do not recommend that until um, they have offered their assistance instead of slapping them up there and just assuming they're going to serve you. Give them a choice. They have a choice. They really do. Just like you have a choice which ancestors you work with, they have a choice in who they work with. Same thing applies. Okay. I sold into two people a few months ago, and I had a situation this past week. I got what I sold back. See? Okay. So again, doing that work with your ancestors, uh, and really accessing that magic is going to again require you going within. It's not going to be on the outside of you. Ancestral magic offers sacred method of transmuting this pain through rituals of forgiveness, shadow work, and ancestral veneration. We send healing vibrations back through our lineage. This release the energetic blockages within our DNA, allowing divine wisdom to rise. In essence, healing inherited trauma unlocks the ancestral codes that have been waiting within us, codes that carry creativity, intuition, and ancient knowledge. Especially for us that are creative, that we are always creating something. We're writers. We're always painting something, drawing something. Believe it or not, or we're singers. We love music. When you are doing these things, you are tapping into the ancestral realm. Yes, you're tapping into the spiritual realm. This is where your ancestors are at. You're tapping into your inner vision. Ancestral connection methods, trust your intuition. Yes, trust your intuition. Okay. So it's already in you. So when you start tapping into creativity, or you having streams of inspiration, that's how spirit speaks to you. If you all of a sudden have an idea, you just feel very inspired, that's the spirits. Or maybe you feel overwhelmed, and you just cry. Again, that's the spirit. These are how spirit they communicate through our feelings and our thoughts. And that's got to be in line. And I can't say this enough when you're doing your work. You got to be able to feel it. We just got through I got through doing a lecture about this very topic, because we're going deeper into our magic and the mechanics of it, because I think people are ready to see how it works, to really start practicing with their mind and their moves and their magic. That you for this information. I'm going to get ready tomorrow and hope to see you live again. Okay, Monique. Thank you for being here. Okay. So again, it goes together. Hey, sacred goddess. Thank you. Okay. So again, all this goes together. Your emotional regulation, nervous system needs to be together. I don't care what you're seeing out here with these practitioners acting a fool with each other, acting like they lost their mind. I don't know. Fix it, ancestors. But I know one thing: you can't do regular stuff. You can't be raggedy. You got to be working on your raggedy stuff. Just that simple. You just can't be doing regular stuff. I don't know what you're working with when you do that. I don't know what you're doing. I don't even know if it's justified. And these spirits gonna be initiating you. You can jump from one religion from another. But ultimately, how to interface with a spirit. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for a spirit, and you ain't gonna find it through people. And the only way you're gonna do that is go within and come to the realization you are a spirit, and embrace that you can communicate with spirits. To some kind of way, we done forgot we not this body. And believe it or not, the more time you spend with spirits, the less human you gonna feel. The more you're gonna feel, But sometimes I feel beside myself with humans, because I spend much time with spirit. I forget the social, standard when it comes to human, because I spend so much time with spirit. I don't understand the workings of their minds sometimes. It just get like that. It's a byproduct. When you start to come to that realization that you're a spirit, you don't even relate to human, because these people really think they're human, and you know that they're not. You almost feel alien with this realization, but it's a fact that everybody is not ready to embrace. So over the humans lately, I have to confess. Okay. You won't even feel human anymore. You will know definitely that you're a spirit. You won't even want to interact with especially the ones that you know that will use the term sleep. They really think that they're the body. They really believe death is the end. Okay. You might find yourself getting along with the spirits better than you get along with people. It happens. Okay. Yes, I am so glad you said that after about an hour with humans. I have to come back to myself. Yeah. You feel alien. And I had to say, what is going on here? Why do I feel so like I feel like I'm not supposed to be here? I feel like so alien, like, but it was the shift that was happening in me. We're living on two different frequencies. Okay, and that will happen. That's what happens when you go in hermit mode, and all this wisdom and knowledge begins to come into you, and you come to the realization of who you truly are. You are not that body. You are not that ego. See, all that has to die. You come to that realization. I feel like that about so many people. They seem just blank. Okay. I look at that on TikTok. I just scroll by and say everybody's talking about somebody else's business. It trips me out. Like the trending topics is to talk about somebody else's business and not focus on ourselves. We're so focused in somebody else. Just imagine if we took that energy and turned it inward, how much progress we would make with ourselves, how healed we would be. But we're so distracted. And you won't see it until you get somewhere and sit down, and you have to, because them spirits gonna have you sitting down uh uh with yourself. That's what happened during COVID, and people started realizing that they had issues. They couldn't get nowhere and sit down. They was used to a lot of people started realizing they were codependent too. They could not survive without other people's energy. They did not have the capability of pouring into themselves because of the low frequency. Oh, you learned that too on your journey. You learned that too on your journey, how you need to get that frequency and the work you need to do to reach the frequency to tap into the magic. Yeah, Alicia JJ, you here, Alicia J. Okay, because you don't know what frequency you were born on, and when you start doing the shadow work, you start to see that. Dang, my parents did this. It was alcoholism. It was addiction going on. There was abusive. It was this going on. This. The family secrets. All that stuff comes out. Somebody who was a taker. My families were takers. They was givers. They were initiators. They were, you really get a chance to see what soil you was born on and what self mastery and frequency you need to work on. Oh, you don't know though. You don't know because you won't get nowhere and sit down. People pleasing is one of them. What is the frequency of people? You'll see once you start looking at your family, where you come from. Are there people that take people energy? Are there people that initiate? They create their own energy. They create their own way. They're pioneers. Or was your family poverty stricken? Again, you get a chance to look at that. In our Know Thyself membership, you get the full workbook so you can look at it. You can see it on paper. It's something when you put it on black and white in paper, you start seeing it because you can't deny it. The work is there. Okay, my mother, grandmother, and I all fell at around the same age. Now I have the same scar on my chin. Is that spiritual? That sounds spiritual. And have they faced their challenges, or are they working overtime, insulating from themselves? Okay. And yeah, I don't recommend doing the kind of work alone. See a therapist, get in a healing circle, get some sort of support so you can be accountable in the work so you can actually do the shift and change because that's what that does. There needs to be accountability because people try to do shadow work alone and they don't make any changes. And the spirits that we are working, trying to dispel that has come through our bloodline through trauma, these spirits they operate through shame and through intense negative emotions, and you got plenty of that. And you will start to understand once you start talking and just feeling those feelings and talking about it, you will begin to feel lighter and lighter. You now know how to use your mouth, your most powerful thing you have on you, your mind and your mouth. Now you know how to use your mouth to heal yourself because you're going to need it. Shadow work is ancestors work, dealing with all type of dysfunction. You can do more research since you're on TikTok. Go look into that more. Shadow work is healing all the ancestral trauma, the inner child, the shadow self, all the things and ugly things we don't want to see about ourselves, the blind spots. No, we are not perfect, none of us. That's what shadow work is. Okay, hard to match myself with a therapist. Therapists tell me their issues like I am the therapist. Okay, you could do research into that. Miss Penny, I met this man during COVID who told me he was giving a message to me. He asked me whether I had seen something behind me. He also had some feedback for me about my family too. Wow. Okay. How was that experience? Miss Penny, you done snuck up. Look at Black Magic Mike. I'm talking to my YouTube family here. Uh I bet that was a Miss Penny, you done snuck up on me. COVID was spiritual game changer for me. I'm sure it reset. We had no choice but to look at ourselves. COVID set us down. It was a great mother sitting us down. There was a total reset going on there. There was a time, the opportunity. There was a reset to the beginning of the end. That's basically what's going on here. Okay? Who's who? We start seeing who were the people who had light in them and who are the people who had lower vibrational energy directing them. We really start seeing who was who. My great great grandmother was 90% Indian. Did they have their own practices? Some of them did. A lot of them, you'll see a lot of those practices in hoodoo. We honor those ancestors in hoodoo. Okay. Hard to match myself. I would say keep looking. And I would look for some group therapy as well. Group therapy really, really accelerates your healing. I made I made more progress in healing circles than I did with the therapist. Okay. Many of the therapists used to come to our group circles to uh, get educated about to help people with in dysfunctional families. Okay. Greetings to everyone in the chat. Hello, Raquel. Hello, hello, hello. Okay. So each time we pray for our ancestors, light a candle for their peace, and honor them, we practice in a sacred science of cellular restoration. That's what happens there. We're trying to get back what we lost, and what better way is to do that? You want to learn hoodoo? You have to learn from your ancestors, and it's going to be very different from what you see here. I promise you. I don't want nobody showing me nothing. Now they can show me something and I get an idea and I be like, I want to do something like that. But guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna ask my ancestors, should I do it? Is that gonna be those elements? Do I need to can I work with those elements in that work? Are those elements, you know, is that the right time to use those elements in my working? I'm just not gonna pick it up and start doing it. I'm gonna ask for consent. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna look both ways before I cross them streets. That's what we do over here in Hoodoo. We look both ways before we cross this street, before we do anything. We do divination. Divination is going to be your friend until you uh, can improve the communication with your ancestors. And the more you do divination, the longer you do it, the better you get in communicating with them. You'll start getting telepathic messages. But you can't get telepathic messages if you got a whole bunch of garbage and negative thinking and the thoughts choose you and you letting people control your emotions and you worry about Sally Sue over here and her man and all that and you all in them people business. You ain't getting no messages like that. You haven't even watered your mind enough and elevated your mind enough to be open enough to receive those type of messages. You've opened yourself up to receive lore, stuff that don't make no sense. You just oozing wasted energy. It's just wasted energy just oozing out of you. Some of us people pleasing. We want to always do something for somebody else and don't want to focus. And that's a type of control too. You think you always got to be doing. You think you're Superman, Superwoman. You're not. Resting is not lazy. I have to tell people, resting, self care. You're doing something. See, when you get somewhere and sit down and be quiet, you're doing a lot of stuff when you're doing that. You're coming home to yourself. You're resetting your nervous system. So stop thinking if I sit down, I ain't got no time. You're doing something. Self care is mandatory. You are doing something. See, we done told ourselves, these folks have told us we machines, and if we ain't doing, we sitting down somewhere, we lazy. No, you're not. Matter of fact, that's when time go to working for you. The universe sees that, and your time be recalibrated on your side. Don't ask me how it happens. You when you start doing it, you'll see it for yourself. It's gonna be ease for you to do your ritual and do self care. Universe, that time just start working for you instead of you working for the time is controlling you. You begin to control your time. That's what happens. Right now, you're letting time control you until you make time for your self care and self love. These folks got you in survival mode. You got to zoom here and zoom there. No, you need to get somewhere and sit down and be quiet and start trying to figure out how come it's so hard for you to do it. What's going on with you where you can't sit down and be quiet? Drink you some chamomile tea, some lavender tea, some jasmine tea to calm that stuff down. Yeah, probably need to be sipping on that a lot when you first get on this journey to get your nervous system together, like your ancestors did, reaching for those herbs like lavender, chamomile, jasmine. Yeah, reaching for that to calm down your nervous system, to get regulated and reset it. You're gonna need hoodoo to save your life. You're gonna need those herbs. Then you're gonna understand why they was picking up those herbs. You understand? Because you're gonna need them to get your all that herbal root working remedy. You're gonna need it to get your mind and your nervous system back together. Ashwagandha. Yep, that one too. Because I was taking that one too. Anxiety. You've been running around with anxiety on 100 for maybe 100 years or more, and you didn't even know it because it was passed down in your bloodline. We have to talk about this. That survival is in us like that. That needs to be the first thing that you understand when you get over here in hoodoo. The baby, you were past that you some magic, but you also was past some pain too. Let's work on the pain so we can work effectively with the magic. What was the last herb you used? I'm using them all right now. Okay. I use chamomile. I use ginger. I use jasmine. What's the last one you use? Priceless. What's the last herb you use? I use chamomile. I use ginger. I use jasmine. I use the butterfly purple blue tea. What else I use? Oregano, uh, salt, sugar. Which ones you use? It don't have to be complicated. It be something simple. If you know what you're doing, you can make it pop. Your valerian root. Valerian root. I don't like the smell of it. I always put a little lavender oil if I drink lavender valerian root tea. It's not talked about at all. Okay. You. That's what you got. That's need to be in front of you instead of somebody telling you doing a pretty little spell. Again, work that magic on you first. Start fixing your life and getting in alignment with the work before you start doing stuff to other people or start trying to do something a big feat and you're not in alignment with the magic and your frequency is not high enough. I have never worked with soursop. I've never worked with soursop in hoodoo. Didn't use it. Haven't used it. I use what I got on hand. If I have soursop, then I probably would use it, but I don't have soursop on hand. So I use what I have on hand. Okay. I haven't used any aunties. That's why I'm here. Okay. I use a variety of them. Okay. Everything for the nervous system. I made sure I educated myself about that. Because if I don't do anything else, I need to be sipping on that. Okay. I need to have that in my body and have those herbs in my body working on me. My ancestors used them for medicinal purposes, and I do what my ancestors do. And when we do what our ancestors do as well, that's a way of calling them in. Okay. But again, you don't know. Being back in the workforce is very distracting for me these days and draining. It is black magic, Mike. Them folks get on your nerves. I be wanting to spray them folks with Florida water in the face like roaches. I ain't lying. They get, they don't even know they're being controlled by spirits, so they don't know these wounds are so heavy. It shifts, the energy is just throws everything off. And I'm not blaming them. Some of them just not aware. Therapists talk ancestral practices and altar setup. Okay, I was recently able to get my grandmother's Bible with all our family. Okay, be careful with that. Okay, so again, in our community, we're going through some more ancestral veneration books. You guys are getting more information on ancestral veneration. If you're in our community, there is absolutely no way that you're not making progress with your ancestors because it's just absolutely too many resources. I'm just too thorough on that for you to miss that. If you are not doing ancestral veneration and you're in our community, that is a choice that you're making because it's too many resources. If you're not healing over there, again, that is a choice that you are making because I'm just again the way the ancestors move me. I talk about these topics, so I'm very thorough to help you understand hoodoo and to help you build your practice. Because I'm addressing you as a practitioner, not a student. Because all of us are practitioners. We don't know everything. We're constantly growing. It is, and I'm a little overwhelmed. Yes, just take your time with the ancestral veneration, uh, doing the protection work, making sure that your house is fully protected, and make sure that you're consistent with doing your baths and cleansing and doing your shadow work. Those are the things these things need to be focused on first before you start doing stuff. If you're going to be doing anything, it needs to be fixing and healing you and nothing else. The ancestors see that and they will help you on that. The more time you spend at that altar and telling them what's going on with you and being sincere, you'll get more support from the ancestors. I'm telling you, don't go over there with no fluff and faking and jiving and all that stuff. Them spirits see you. You cannot trick a spirit, so just stop it. Now these people they tricking you in these initiations, and you're getting over there, and they tricking you. People will trick you, but them spirits, I'm telling you right now, they do not function like people. You understand me? You can't trick no spirit. Everything is consciousness. And them people over there tricking you and all that stuff. But had you been following the spirit, that would have never happened. That's what needs to happen. You following these people, and honey, that don't amount to a hill of beans. I just got through going through a ritual, going through a lecture the other day that yep, you guys are gonna be getting over there. And I have another practitioner saying this. These spirits don't give a care about titles in this world. They don't care about the money. They care about the time and the energy you have put in developing a relationship with them. That counts over there. That's rich over there. That's recognition over there. They don't care about you a priest, a man. They don't care about that. I'm telling you now. They care about the time. The initiation is the time in the world, not a religion with a title. You're getting that confused. That doesn't cross over to the spiritual realm. Mambo poo poo, or priestess poo poo, or priestess Isis don't transfer over. Just because they call themselves this in this spiritual realm doesn't mean it's going to be there. What counts is the relationship with spirits. That's the real priestess and priest. What experience you got with these spirits? Do they come when you call? I don't care about your name. Okay, I saw an interview by Andre Duncan with Lisa Miller from Columbia University today. She kept talking about ancestor veneration, and she's an academic. See, it's imperative. It's going to come up. It's coming up now because this is the wisdom. It's time to come back to it. It's time to heal. Okay, they are pushing us into that. Now, another thing that we talked about too, and I had to get again, get you guys prepared over there. And this is the missing key to a lot of it. And a lot of people it's not telling you that, but we're going deeper into the mysteries. I never thought of the spirit world that way. I would try to spend more time with them. Thanks. They don't care. I don't care about no money. I'm telling you now, you're gonna see another practitioner say that. I'm gonna show you. You got too many practitioners say that. I don't know why people jump on and people actually believe that and think they're gonna access them spirits over there and not have to do no work. No, 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 no. It's the people that's doing the work without titles that got the most power. I'm telling you now. The ones that you don't hardly see on here, the ones that's too busy wrapped up in spirit, the weirdos, okay? Them the ones you don't hardly see on social media, any of that. Them are the ones that don't regularly post or whatever. They camera shy, they really don't like you in their business or whatever. Them the ones that got the most power. Them the ones that's coming in contact with spirits. The ones that can tell you about the experience, that can break it down to you. They're not trying to give you a spell. I'm just telling you, but you can keep on following who's beautiful, who sound good, who tickles your fancy, and you go right ahead with that. And I get people over here talking about, I want to work with the most powerful ancestors. You don't know what you're asking for. Because to work with on that type of level with a spirit, you have to totally leave the material world behind. You do no longer live in a physical reality. And to live like that with spirits, you have to live in a world of magic, in a different reality. And most of those people don't stay around normal people. They don't like being around people because they're immersed and always in conversation with spirits. Know what you're asking for, so you don't know what you're asking for. And what does that require? And we just got through talking about path working. I'm dropping gems on you now. I talked about shamanic journeying. We talked about that in our community. Path working is what these mystery schools have been using to open the inner gateways within you. And if you don't know the language, if you don't know the script, they did this in ancient Egypt. You will be in a deep meditation. You saw it on Black Panther. You will be in a deep meditation, and they will talk you through a landscape escape that help you access those inner worlds in you and those archetypes. You're never going to know that if you don't sit down and try to go into those realms and communicate with spirit. And when you start going doing this path working, you'll be surprised how accurate it is. You will start coming up with secret wisdom and knowledge directly from spirits. That's the initiation. You understand what I'm telling you? I hope you get. I'm giving you pearls. And our community got it already. I'm getting ready to train them to go into these inner worlds and go deeper in their practice. This is the missing thing that you're not doing at your altar that you need to be doing. You need to be getting very comfortable there. Probably need to get you a cot so you can really go into deep path working. What they call uh visualization, meditation visualization, slowing down our nervous system and getting and regulating our thoughts. Really start working on how to focus our thoughts. Because the more we can do that, the more control we have over our magic. When you go in path working, you get a chance to speak with a lot of these spirits and come up with information that's already inside you. But because you don't know the script and you don't want to go into the inner world, you're missing out on different things. But the information is inside you. You got to get somewhere and be quiet and start accessing. And they have always did this in every mystery school. Another book that you can read. What is her name? Dolores Norwicki. She is famous. She is notarized for helping people in the occult science to go into these inner worlds and open up these gateways in the mind. That's what they're talking about. That's what's going on there. That's why you got people going to get ayahuasca and all these things. But you can do this on your own with the correct visual meditation and consistency. You'll start to receive more and more information. And I have a lot of people say, "Am I making it up?" No, you're not. You're accessing it. The imagination is the key to the gateway. Is you understanding me? Her name is Dolores Norwicki. We're going to get one of her books. We're going through one of her books over there, so you guys get a free book. But another book I want you to get from her, and I'm having a hard time getting it. It's called The Initiate's Path Working. And in that book, she has path working to contact Egyptian gods. She got path working to contact Native American ancestors. I mean, it's just a different path workings that she have in there that you can set up meditations and go into those realms. The realms are in the gateways are inside of you. That's how you gonna do it. But if you don't do the path working and you don't get nowhere and sit down, then you're not gonna be able to. You'll know you're initiating because when you come out, all the information they give you gonna be right. You ain't going through no person. That's her name, Dolores Ashcroft Nowicki. That's her name. The worlds are the gateways between you. That's what they're talking about in the Egyptian pantheon when they're going into the underworld. The underworld is the inner world. It is within you. I'm dropping gems on you right now. You can take this or leave that. You keep on trying to follow folks and not trying to go within. But the answer ain't gonna be outside yourself. It's gonna be within. Everything is consciousness. And so, in order to access these realms, the realms of the ancestors, and to speak with these spirits, that's where the initiation begin when you can go inside and start uh picturing having conversations with these beings. And again, go in there with intention because again, they're going to be telling you something that's not in the book or you've never heard anywhere. And then when you go down the rabbit hole, it's going to be true, or they'll start sending information your way. You're going to be astounded by your results. This is the true, again, initiation process with spirit. You want to be in contact with ancestors? And divinations on it only when you're adding divination to it, it only amplifies the link. I'm dropping gems on you right now. Ain't nobody gonna tell you this, but this is the key to every. I don't know anyone that's not using a shamanic approach to communicate with spirits. They're calling it path working now, but we call it a shamanic approach. They're using a form of shamanism to communicate with these spirits. Now, some people, they were getting ready to go into there too. Some of our ancestors, they use scrying. But the best way, again, because you're gonna, when you're going into path work until you get the sense, get a chance to sense when the spirit is there. You're gonna feel a shift and stuff in your body. You're, and when you're doing this, you're slowing down your nervous system and you're paying attention to your body. You're noticing how your body feel when you come in contact with certain spirits, how they energy feel. because you get a chance to know them by their energy too. And when you come out, you get a chance to document what was going on in meditation. How did they make you feel? What did they look like to you in your mind's eye? How did they present themselves? Then document what they told you and research it. This is experimental, and you'll start seeing your accuracy. And as you again see all these accuracies that they have, you're going to build more trust, and they can help you more with learning different magical techniques and how to perfect your magic. But you got to go in. Now, you have the other people. They don't want to do the path working. And that's you'll have some of that in the cult, but they still had to find their way back to the shamanic approach because you have them creating chaos magic. And the occult, they try to do this on the outside by evoking the spirits on the physical plane. And if you're not right, because a lot of them not right and they're raggedy, there is no telling what's gonna be the results with that. And some people they were not having success with that. And so you'll see people breaking out from the occult coming up with their own organization, Freemasonic organization. You'll see some of that breaking off, and that's what you see with chaos magic. They had to go back to the indigenous practice of shamanism to access those worlds and those spirits. That's what they're telling you in chaos magic. When they're saying shamanism, that's what they're doing. And it is the most oldest, ancient, successful practice that we have. Okay, we're going to go deeper into African shamanism because I was able to find a book that really deal with shamans that look like us and they really have our experience. But path working is where it is if you want to communicate with ancestors. Is to go into those realms. And matter of fact, building those inner temples where within you is where your magic is most powerful. If your inner world is not together, if you're not building it with these scripts and path workings, then you're going to be limited in your spiritual contact. But again, if you start building these inner worlds and looking at the scripts, because usually if I find a good meditation that I feel like that would open up a gateway for you, then I'll place it there. And I have a few meditations on my YouTube channel, okay, where that helps you journey to the realm of the ancestors. Yeah, you're actually going there with your mind. Everything is consciousness. If you can imagine it, it's happening. Imagination is the key to the spiritual realm. That's why they keep telling you imagination is important. No, you're not making it up. Look at it like this: imagination is the key that opened the door for you to access the spirit. You have to use imagination to talk to spirits. Then document it. You want to confirm that it's right, do a divination on it. This is a science. This is how we perfect it. Okay? We write it down, we check it. And the more accurate it is, the more trust we build for our relationships, and the more our spirits trust us because they know that we're listening to what they're saying. Okay, high time stamping army. Do you say that chaotic magic is shamanic magic? Chaos magic has shamanism in it. It has Taoism in it. Chaos magic look like hoodoo. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. I looked at that stuff, and them folks saying there's something else. Y'all done took that look like hoodoo. I'm just gonna tell you what it look like to me. You take a look at it, you form your own opinion. But my opinion is basically it looks like hoodoo. It looks a little like hoodoo. I'm using dominoes for divination. Well, I still get clear mess. If that's what you want to use, if that's what you resonate with, that's what your spirit's telling you to do. Yeah, you'll get clear messages. If that works for you, yeah. It don't have to look like nobody else's stuff, you guys. I'll be worried if all y'all stuff look alike, okay? Because our ancestors practice different magic. Some of them just work with petitions. Some of them just work with water. Some of them work with ore. Some of them, they just had a variety of ways they did their work. That's why I give you free range over there in our community. I immerse you with all the knowledge to start feeding yourself so you can find out because you're getting to know yourself. This is a getting to know yourself and coming home to yourself. So I have to again leave that open for you to find out what resonates for you because what works for everybody else may not work for you. I may show you a spell. That's why I don't understand why people do that. Why are you showing them a spell and not letting their ancestors help them figure them out? Because they need to figure themselves out. It needs to work with them and resonate with them. That may not even be their magic. And then some of it I'm looking at, I know you work with a spirit. You didn't do this work by yourself. And you got these people think they can do this. I know you got some tags and stuff up in there that calling cards with spirits up in that work. And see you're doing it. It's just so many variables to that. Okay. I've been called to do divination with pennies and dimes and candles interpretation too. If that works, do it that way. If that's how your ancestors is judging you to do, I mean, leading you to do it, then do it that way. Okay. It's going to be looking different with everybody. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. I would be, I would be side eyeing you if it looked like everybody else stuff. I would be, concerned about that. Okay. I know you're not doing it on your own because in a way you could have made something up. Spirit has got to be leading you to do that because I've seen nobody else do it. That's how I can tell if the ancestors are leading you to do stuff because you are doing something that no one else has heard of and it's right. And somewhere down the line, somebody practices like that and it's been lost. So when I see them giving you stuff to do that nobody else is doing, I know that they're probably giving you information and workings to do that people have forgot about or got lost. Just simple stuff. And it be simple stuff. Okay, they're not going to have you doing complicated stuff when they first start working with you. They might have you just working with salt. They may have you just doing some work on yourself and healing yourself and get somewhere and sitting down. But I know if they're going to show you something, it's going to be simple. And then as you grow in your practice and start understanding the science of magic, then they'll start showing you more complex things. Okay, as you grow and advance. That's usually how it works. But if you're going to be communicating with a spirit, I don't know any of these religions at some point, they're going to be doing path working. They're going to be, you saw it on, what is that, Coven when Angela Bassett went into that meditation and you kind of see her levitate. Again, she went into a realm, into the underworld. She went into the underworld. She went into another realm. You're gonna see that in a lot of these shows. They've been telling you and been telling you. Okay. What time and days do you go live? I usually try to go live between the hours of 8 and 9. And I'm usually here 3 or 4 days a week. Okay. All right. So again, path working is gonna that's why I have to tell you to get somewhere and sit down. And that's something that a lot of us are avoid doing. I hear people, I can't meditate. I can't do this. I think you better learn how because you're gonna be living over there in that other realm. You might as well get used to seeing how it operates since you're gonna be over there one day. You might as well take it for a spin. Okay. And then think about what you're saying, because if you chasing other people's business and you want to know what other people doing, and you can tell stories in your head, I know dang on well you can sit there and meditate. It's that you're not making a choice. And if you are having problems, do some breath work, do trance work, try doing trance work, try doing scrying. But the inner world needs to be unlocked, and the nervous system needs to be upregulated. If you can't do it for anything else, start regulating the nervous system, because a lot of your work, you got to be able to feel what you're doing. The work moves with your feeling. So if you're trying to bring in more joy or success, you got to be able to feel that emotion. Not just do the spell, but feel it. That's what moves it. That's what gives it motion. And so if your emotions is stuck in survival mode and you can't really harness that, that's why we go into music too. Music is a great medium to help you hurry up and shift and get into those feelings and move some of the things around. We talk about that in our community as well. So if you can't feel the emotion, you can't shift it. You're oozing. Everybody just triggering you. They can just get a reaction out of you. Some of us, we look at social media and everything about it trigger us. Again, we're feeding, oozing out energy when we do this. So we need to be able to regulate, get control of our mind and emotions. And those are being manipulated on a mass scale when they keep you distracted with stuff that it don't make no difference looking at the stuff. Sometimes reading sports stats patterns gets me into a flow state. Okay. So again, finding out what like time stamping Army said, he said sometimes reading sports stats patterns gets him into a flow state. So finding out what you can tap into to move that magic along. But the biggest gun in our community, we're going to go through this more. I know you're doing rituals. Usually, when you start these rituals, and if you're not, another thing I don't want to miss this. When you're doing path working too, what happens, the more you do this, the more vivid your dreams come. The more consistent you are with the rituals and the path working, your dream recall gets better and better. And you'll start seeing some of these inner worlds play out in your dreams. That's what happens. You're training your mind to access those worlds as well. It's in there. You just have to trust your mind to let it unfold. Like I said, if someone can walk you through a path working, you'll probably have better results. Some people make their own path working. But this is what our ancestors did, and that is exactly what you're seeing when you see the Gnostics talk about these other worlds and things like that. You'll see some of the prophets too. They're not going to tell you this, but they were going into these other inner worlds and accessing these gateways. And it's being done right now in some of these secret societies and some of these mysteries. That's how you're going to contact a spirit. And I know a lot of you, which I've seen people in my community say, Miss Penny, I'm making it up. No. Did you check out the information? Was it right? Okay. So how can you make that up? It was so subtle and easy for you. You think you're making it up because it's not like how Hollywood has it being. So yeah, you're gonna think you're making it up because Hollywood making it seem like something else, and really it is more subtle and easier than what people make it out to be. It's really easy. The main thing is trusting yourself and document the information and confirming it. But this can be done again with divination. When they tell you something, do a divination on it and confirm it. And then you can go further and ask them to start helping you run into information more about the subject or topic. And I be damned, it will happen. It will trip you out. Okay. And this is happening because the initiation process is taking place. You're learning to trust the spirits, and the spirits are learning to trust you. And they are accessing the gateways through imagination. That is correct, seeker of no. That's why when I gave you your ancestral manual over there on ancestral magic, I instantly gave you a path working and start introducing you to path working. I instantly gave you an ancestral meditation. I don't need you to have any excuse of why you can't communicate with your you're not progressing on your journey. Because if you use the resources over there, I guarantee you're gonna get results. The only way you don't get results if you're not doing any of that. You're not looking at any of it. You're not taking that's the only way you don't get results. If you're not being consistent, you're not reading the materials, listen to the lectures. That's the only way I see that you don't get results because it's just and we're just swimming in ancestral. I mean, the resources we got are quality, great information. You do yourself a disservice when you don't open it up and look at it and read it. All the herbal knowledge, we're getting ready to go deeper into root work. So all you root workers that's interested in holistic medicine, we just got a variety of resources. We're getting ready to dive deeper into herbalism and the holistic practices of our ancestors. So you're going to get so many resources on that in root work, and then we're diving deeper in the conjure, looking at the elements and how to work with elements and archangels. So we're just deepening our practice. Okay, so y'all we're advancing now. So you should have your altar up, all those things up, being consistent. And now we're going into path working. You saying you don't know what to do on your altar. There are so many things you can do, both Vedas, no Venas, prayers, dancing, drumming, healing, telling them what's going on because they're your therapist and your counselor now. There's so many things that you need to be healing goes on your altar. Telling the archangels, the ancestors what you need to heal from. Opening your mouth because we opening our mouth at the wrong time. I'm enjoying the Work and Conjure ebook. Yep. Okay, so there's I mean, it's just so much and that, I'm not even finished. I mean, the resources that we have there that you get that comes with um the community on top of the presentations and me going through the book kind of showing you the highlights and things that you should that I think you should look at, you know, that's important. So again, it's just too much, it's too many details for you to get it wrong. And no, teaching you a spell is not helping you because you don't under a lot of us don't understand the mechanisms and workings of magic. And there is a science to it. And the first thing that has to be done is the renewing of your mind and again regulating your nervous system. Your mind has got to be trained for this because these folks got you thinking that you're human or whatever, and then you're not that. I'm on Patreon, but I'm not seeing the ancestor manual. You should be there. It's right there. It's under Ancestral Magic. There should be a hyperlink in the paragraph. If you're a member, a paid member, you should be seeing that. Okay, it's in the hyperlink. All you have to do is click on the hyperlink, and the manual opens. Okay, it's the ancestral. I would say ancestral magic guide. It's more of a guidebook, so you ought to see it there. Okay, so check that again. It posted. Yeah, it posted today. So you should have access to it. All you have to do is click on the link. If you're a paid member, then you'll get that book for free. Okay. So if you're not able to access that, I don't know why. But look at the link, the hyperlinks there. The books are always going to be in the hyperlink. The lectures are always going to be in the hyperlink below. Okay, I went too far back. I'm on the know thyself. Okay. Look there because it's there. Just click on it. Okay. And you'll get that full manual, and it's very detailed. I like the guidebook because it's very detailed. It tells you what you need to be doing, the outer work, the shadow work, the general. We go deep into that. We don't just go just with ancestor veneration. No, we go deeper to that and let you know the work that you need to be doing. Okay, it's there. I see it. Okay, no, the seeker of no says there. I see it. Okay, and went through path work and getting deeper with this. Because again, now you can't pass that ancestor altar saying, I don't know what to do. It's too many resources there for you not know what to do. And now you're going to know what to do because I'm going to have all the resources there. So you can say, okay, ancestors, which one of these activities that you wish me to work on? If you get an astro reading for us from me, those are $15 where I look at your natal chart and you see what type of shadow work you need to be doing, what type of magic you got going on, what type of elements you'll work good with. Uh, that kind of helps you kind of gauge what you need to look at, okay, and how to start. Okay. If you're interested in the astro reading, you can DM me. Let me put my thing in here. You can DM me your name, your time, your place of birth. I need your email address if you are doing this from TikTok because I have to get you out of invoice. Okay. And I'll send you an invoice. If you're looking for a reading, just let me know what reading you're looking for, a tarot reading or astro reading. But for the astro reading, of course, I'm going to need your time, your date, your place of birth, and your email address to get you out of invoice. Okay. Could you do it without time or birth? Yeah, I can, but if you can tell me, was it in the morning, the afternoon, evening, late evening, that helps. Okay, okay, you know it was early morning. That's great. Okay, for the reading. Okay, yes, ma'am. I send it in now. So if that's something that you're interested in, that it kind of give you, and again, when you're getting in when you're doing this too, and I went over these about ancestors, you're aligning yourself with our celestial ancestors as well, because truly you are a star, your ancestors were stars. So again, you start aligning yourself uh again with your ancestors when you do this. Okay. You start aligning your path again because this is your root work. This is the core of who you are when we're looking at your natal chart. And so that gives you a idea of what you need to be doing at the altar, whether you need to be healing your mother line, your father line, you need to be healing people pleasing, whatever you got going on with you, you know what you're doing over there and start talking to your ancestors about it. Go to therapy, start purging that stuff out of you through your mouth. You see, some of us shame to say the stuff out loud, and the things that we're shamed to say out loud, they need to be said out loud so we can be free. That's why I get you talking in our Know Thyself members. No, you're not going to sit there and be quiet. You're going to talk, or you're going to be answering these questions that's in our workbook. You need to be talking. That's the problem. You're talking at the wrong time. And when it's time to talk about you and what's going on with you, you don't want to talk. But we so quick to open our mouth and talk about other people raggedy stuff, but we don't want to talk about our raggedy stuff. That's the problem. That's what gets you crossed up. Okay. And so in order to again to get your tenderness back, okay, to get your sovereignty back, to get your innocence back, we need to be talking about what's going on with us. We got to get that back. Okay. Got to get that back. Anyone has any question? Because I've covered a lot and I have dropped a lot of things on you, especially when it comes to path work and when it comes to ancestral magic and healing. And if that's something that you're interested in, we have a beautiful hoodoo community that is growing each and every day where we offer quality resources in helping you build your own practices. I support over there, I mentor, and I'm always interacting and always open to adding things that'll help all of us grow over there. Could I put my altar in my closet? Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, you can. You can put it in your closet if you want to, baby. Okay. And again, getting you to trust in your practice because a lot of people uh too is making hoodoo look like it's a religion. It is not. You can be a Buddhist and still practice hoodoo. You can be a Muslim and still practice hoodoo. Hoodoo is not Christian. It's a spiritual science that's made up of various different mystical beliefs. It has Christian mysticism in it. It has Jewish mysticism in it. It has indigenous spiritual practices in it. Okay. It has elemental magic in it. It has sympathetic magic in it. Okay. So it is not a religion and it's study expanding. And that's what ticks a lot of people off because a lot of people want to keep it close to Christian. But the way hoodoo and many of our spiritual practices are set up, they are technology, so they are meant to evolve and grow with each generation. Just like shadow work, it's going to evolve and grow. And so a lot of people are afraid of the way it is, it is growing and how people are integrating it into their life. But I'm more concerned with you integrating it into your life because hoodoo is a way of life. There should be uh um there should be a frequent washings and cleansings going on. There should be daily meditations or scriptures being said for protection. There should be ongoing contact with ancestors. This should be part of your daily life. Self care, all that should be in there. You should have already slowly integrated. And I tell people in the community, take your time with it because it takes maybe a whole year for you to get comfortable and integrate hoodoo into your life. It might take a year for you to get comfortable with it, and start. You don't learn everything. You don't have to learn all of the herbs. You'll start probably find yourself working with five or six and probably moving on as you grow to learn about other herbs. But you don't have to know everything. The most basic thing that you need to have together, there be spells in the Bibles. Yep. And plus, we have so much many resources to help you structure, because really the resources to help you structure your own spells. I won't recommend that you follow everything in the spell book, but those times when you look at something, you're going to structure it to make it your own. Because each spell to me has your own fingerprint and signature and frequency on it. So I wouldn't think it would look exactly like somebody else because there's a different person doing it with different frequency and vibration. Does that make sense? There's so many variables in there. Okay. This is not religion. This is not one size fit all because people are different. This is not religion. You get the chance to find your flavor, your vibe, your flow. That's what magic is all about. Finding your flavor, your vibe, your flow. That's your ancestors showing you that. Okay? Honesty. It feels a bit overwhelming. I did put fruit out today though. Okay. Some magic too, sis. Okay. The some magic too. Yeah. And we just covered we got so many resources on using songs for magic or Bible magic. Is if that's your thing, again, we just covered that thoroughly over there, showing you how that works, how you can implement it, even rituals with different psalms and things like that. Just giving you a variety of resources to help build your magic. And that's what needs to happen. Not following someone else, but following the spirit and letting your ancestors guide you to do it. Because people, you know, you want to follow a spirit, right? You want to do what the spirit wants you to do. You want to have success, right? You're going to have to follow a spirit and trust that and not people. It's so much info in the group. I'm just glad I found your page. Oh, thank you, Alicia J. Okay. So you're going to find a whole bunch of resources there, whatever you're trying to look at or perfect. And if it's something specific that you're trying to look at, DM me, and I'm pretty sure I can point you to the right direction of where you can get what you need. But we just cover it from top to bottom and then leaving you a door again because magic is different from each person. You see, what is that movie? The Hogwarts movie, the Hogwarts man. What is the name of that show? The name of that movie? I can't even remember the name of it. I remember the little school they went through, but I can't even remember the show. Lord. But remember when they was in there, Harry Potter, that's the name of it. Harry Potter. Now all them had different magic, right? All them had different magical strengths. All them was working on different things or how to tap into their magic, right? Same thing applies here. Okay. My money magic may not look like your money magic. Okay. You can probably do money magic with herbs and that work just fine. Or you might do money magic with water and the flower of Jericho and it pops off for you. Okay? It's just different. And so to show you something and then make you feel less than because you couldn't accomplish uh the work that I gave you, that's not even fair. Okay? My thing is you showing me what you do and it worked. That's all I need to know. That's all. Is it working? That's it. Okay, you got it. You got the juju. Your juju working. That's the only thing I need to know. I don't need to try to conform you to my magic. What we need to do is find out where your magic at and how it works. That's what we were doing here. We're leaving you room to explore, to open up those inner worlds. And when someone's doing that, they're taking that away from you. Harry Potter, yes. Okay, I've just seen too many people, the oddest magic. I've seen people have the oddest magic, and I'm just like, I'm perplexed, like, wow. But they would have not found that magic had they not been brave enough to explore themselves and accept what they have on the inside of them. Okay, you're never going to know if you keep following somebody. Do what resonates with you. Okay, they can teach you work, but the thing that happens with that is that people will start doing it and they don't have greater context and you don't know if this practitioner is working with a spirit on there. And sometimes when you're working with a spirit, they'll tell you to use certain elements in a work uh, that that gives them a signature to help you with the work. Sometimes that, it might be a sigil, it might be something as simple as a sigil that they use to do the work, to call an angel in and to support the work. You have stuff like that. So I don't recommend it. And you'll find that too. You might have to start working with angels or have to leave some type of sigil or signature with a spirit to support you in the work that happens. We can respect each other's practice. That's right. Good night, Miss Penny. And the congregation, I have to get into the bed. I'm trying to get my schedule together so I can integrate my veneration normalized before I have to give this job. Okay, okay, Black Magic Mike. Good night. Okay, but the integration needs to happen. If you want your magic to be better, you're doing something spiritual and it's ancestral centered. So if something is not working, go back to the drawing board. And I usually, if you come to me if something is not working, that's the first thing we're going to start doing is probing and trying to see what's coming on. And usually, when I start probing and stuff, it be little bitty things that you need to probably change, a shift, so you can get the results. Okay, and that's what really needs to happen in a practice. When you're coming to your practitioner, you're saying this ain't working. Probing, the practitioner needs to probe. Okay. And I'm surprised what I find when I probe because ancestors be like, ask them this, do they got protection down? Did they do this? Do they do that? Are they doing this? Do that? I automatically, because I've been doing this for so long, I know the questions to ask to start probing to help you start, figuring out what's going on, how to make changes. And usually it be something small or something that you need to work on first. What's Christian warlock? Oh, Christian warlock. What you mean by that, Freddie Blue? That was an interesting statement. Okay. But if you're interested in again in learning more about hoodoo, because I'm gonna immerse you in it. I'm not gonna leave no stone unturned. We cover it in depth, as you know, because I'm here talking about path working. At some point, my hoodoo started looking like shamanism because the ancestors I was going on these journeys, visiting the ancestors and other spirits, and start having these experiences. Okay, and I want that same thing for you. Okay, Christian magic, hon. Yep, I mean, honey, I don't even know what to say about that. The only thing I can say about, because when I hear them saying Christian magic and Christian mysticism, my issue with that is where did Christianity come from? Because it's looked like you're 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 meshing stuff from uh older spiritual traditions. So it's nothing's really original. Cause I mean I'm finding Jewish mysticism in there. I'm finding comedic science in there. So what really is Christian magic? And see, that's gonna get really gonna get complicated. Well, it's going to bring more insight as we go on and we talk about other subjects in a few more days. I'm going to bring some more insight, and then you might understand why I'm saying that. But you know, because it's not original. Where is it coming from? Ancestral herbs discussion. Share your herb tips. I think one of our most powerful herbs in hoodoo that our ancestors, and he has become a deity, is High John the Conqueror. That's a staple. Like our ancestors had damn near used that for a mojo bagging in all their workings. So that's one of our staples that they have here. Uh, but I'm a simple person. I like to do what works. You know what I'm saying? I can get some popping with some salt and pepper, some cayenne pepper. I can get some stuff popping. I can do something with some sugar. You know what I'm saying? I mean, depends on how the ancestors gonna have me doing it. Because when you start doing magic, you tap into your creativity. You start to see magic everywhere. You give me some rice, I do some magic with some rice. I make it pop. I do some money magic with some rice. I think I look at it from the perspective of our ancestors. They use whatever they have. So I look at something and instantly I start asking ancestors how to use it, and I start coming up with creative ways of how I can use a herb. Do I want to use it in oil? Do I want to use it on a candle? Do I want, again, my imagination, magic is full of creativity as well. Okay. So when I look at something, you know, I I'm looking at it how I can work at it. I don't look at the limitations. I look at what I can make it do, what I do have, and the kind of the way our ancestors looked at it. Or I don't look at it like I can't do this because I ain't got this. No, I be like, what else is a substitute that where I can do that. Okay, so it's all about creativity. I've seen the ancestors have had me doing all sorts of creative stuff when it comes to magic. And you'll see that in other people magic. It's gonna start to look like art to a certain extent. Okay, I find it really hard to put labels on myself. Yeah, I find it too. It really is because I found that with hoodoo, I was like, "Am I a shaman?" Because again, I started doing a lot of path working when I first started I still do a lot of path working. I still do a lot of path working. Let me stop it. And I was like, because I've never heard anyone in hoodoo doing what I'm doing. I'm doing path work and I'm going to other realms. So I was like, am I a shaman? They was like, no, but these are the elements, the mystery elements of hoodoo. Okay. I have not heard many practitioners talk about this part of it when it comes to communicating with spirits and building trust with spirits. I've never heard anyone come here and talk about going into those other realms and communicating with ancestors and recommending others to go into those realms. And of course, we go through a variety of options of communicating with ancestors, divination, and just so many variety of ways to do that. But I always recommend, this is one of the things I always recommend to people, is path working. It is more powerful than what you think. Why you think these pale face people is getting into shamanism? It ain't because it don't work. It's because it works. Okay, using Christian ritual practice as they so-called spell incantation. Good night. What am I? The rosary as a spell. Yeah, the rosary is basically a spell. Like I've said the other day, you think hoodoo is a long way. No, it's not. You walk up in that Catholic church, especially if it's full of Latinos and the Hispanic. Them folks is in there conjuring. Okay, I'm just telling you the truth. Conjuring never left the Catholic Church. Hoodoo never left the cat. Them folks is up in there. Hoodoo, they calling on saints, okay, and they burning candles on petitions in the Catholic Church. It ain't never left. Now they probably ain't calling it that, but what our ancestors would call that is hoodoo. Okay, they tried to get rid of it in the Catholic Church, but they came to realize that if we did that, we would lose our members. So some of our ancestors took that up in there. Why do you think we work with saints? And you start looking at those saints, you start to understand some of them are your ancestors. Okay, you start to understand. Oh, but I got ancestors, Angela. You start to really understand, you know, ancestors is not just family. You start understanding the spiritual arsenal you have behind you. So you don't understand that. How do you see? How do you use the rosary? There's a rosary prayer that's out there that you can say. So you should be able to find it online. And I'm not sure if we have it in some of our records. It might be in one of our posts where I give you a whole manual on working with saints and how to set up a table. But yeah, the rosary is powerful if you know how to use it. I think it's in one of our books too. The Mystery of the Roses, Working Magic with Angels. I think there's a whole rosary prayer in there. But you should be able to use it. But when you're praying the rosary, again, you have to move it and pray on specific stones. Each mystery has its own stone. So again, when you're using the rosary, you're accessing the mysteries in it as well. So again, you probably want to do more research in that. But yeah, you got the women, them old Hispanic women and Latino women that's been part of that church for 30 years. And them people, them women are powerful with that rosary. They will knock you down with it. So don't think they ain't got no power. You think they're just a little Catholic woman. No, you don't want that woman bending her knees and grabbing that rosary. Because she'll pray you up and down. You understand me? Them women got power. I think, for a lack of a better term, they probably is the most powerful witches you'll ever come up against is those women with those rosaries. Okay? You don't want to come up against them. They know what they're doing with that rosary. They getting a lot of stuff done with that. Okay. Okay, I need to get a rosary necklace. Okay, so they're powerful when you know how to use them and you understand the mystery behind it. And most of the Latinos and Hispanics, they do a lot of mystery work when it comes to the rosary. And you start to look at the magic never left the church. They calling it something else, but they're still doing magic in the church. It never left. It never left, especially in the Catholic Church. There's so many heavy elements in it. Why do you think our ancestors went directly in there and started synchronizing voodoo? They started synchronizing the Orishas. It never left. Okay, it never left. So you are never far from hoodoo. You are never far from voodoo. It's right there. And you're looking at the Catholic Church. That's what you're looking at. You'll be surprised. Okay. I'd be surprised if you sit in there and talk to some of those members in there. Because a lot of them, they are burning candles on petitions in the church too. Somewhere back there in the back. It never left. Okay. It's always been there. Now they want to call it miracles or candle visuals. It's the same thing. Okay, magic never left the church. It never left. They call it by another name. You can see heavy evidence of it in the Catholic Church. But I can say here, let me stop with the Christian Church. The Christian Church has left itself open. It has left itself susceptible to turn it into more cult like. Okay. It's more, it functions more cut like, and you'll understand why I say this when I come back, and I'll do a thorough discussion on that, on why I say that. Okay, we start looking at things. Candle burning in church, the Catholic Church. They're doing that. Okay, it never stopped in the Catholic Church. They have tried to stop that, and they could not. Just like they tried to stop the Hispanics from venerating Santa Muerte, but they cannot stop that. They even, it's come to the point where the Hispanics want them to canonize Santa Muerte, and the Catholics say no, 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 because she is not a saint. And you have her devotees saying, yes, she is, because she's done so many things for us. She will, there the jury's still out on that. But Santa Muerte seems to be connected with the indigenous culture on that land as well. Okay, so they're going back and forth, and then it looks like to me when they members start giving them hell, because we did the same thing with our ancestors. We had to get them to canonize them. We have been doing this a long time with them. They are forced to canonize them. They don't be want to, but they have to, because if they don't, they ain't gonna have no members. Okay. And that's what happened when we told them to canonize our ancestors. You would do this, or we're gonna leave this church. We ain't put no money in that church. They hurry up and canonize them and made them a saint. And then we go on to call on those saints when there's different work we need to do. The same thing with the Loas. Some of them are saints. Some with the Olarisha and the Orisha. Some of them was real people that went on to be deified, made saint-like. Okay. Yes, we can do it our own way at home, sis. Yep. Okay. The Muslims pray towards Mecca 5 times a day and walk around the Kaaba stone in Mecca. More magic. They're just more magic. Okay, they're calling it by something else, but it is what it is. Okay. The patriarchs did all this stuff in the first place, trying to separate themselves from the matrilineal spiritual practice and to make it look like it was something evil, then outlawing women to practice herbal medicine, holistic healing. What you think that witch thing was about? That again, the first colonizing went on with women. Before there was a race war, there was a gender war. And the gender war, the race war ain't got nothing on the gender war. The race war looked like a cakewalk compared to the gender war. We're talking about the crimes against women and children that still go on today and never stop. You think that race war was bad? You think that was bad? They don't even put that in a book that was so bad they don't want you to know about it. And you're looking at a glimpse of it when you're looking at the Salem witch trials, and when you're looking at some of these wars that's go on in this Bible. Who you think they was enslaving? Women and children. They're not gonna put that in a book though, because that would be devastating to women. They would rather blot that history out. But because to tell you that, it would just be too devastating. It would be too overwhelming if you knew the crimes against your great mothers. It'd be it'd make them look like monsters, and they don't want to do that. That's why they got to stay looking like victims. That's why you have the Abrahamic religion acting like they victims in Egypt, when there was a matriarch culture that fed you and took care of you, and then you stole the Ark of Covenant, and you were mad because you could not rule that queendom. That's what this is about. But you don't like Egypt, but you couldn't even talk to your God without the Egyptian teaching you their spiritual science. Moses couldn't talk to God without the matriarch spiritual system. In fact, he had to use that serpent, which is divine feminine, to heal those people. If you really knew what happened to you, that's why they're gonna keep it soft for you. But if you was to get somewhere and sit down and start doing your healing, divine feminine cosmic being, your great mothers would tell you and you will feel it. You'll know exactly where all those wounds originated from. And they ain't gonna tell you that. Yeah, they're gonna talk to you about racism. They're gonna talk to you about that, but they're not gonna talk about the biggest crimes in humanity has been against women and children, and that still exists today. All the Abraham religion control women. Uh-huh. So are they practicing Santeria? Uh, you know, mm, is that what you asking me when they venerate the saints? Is that what you asking me, Raquel? Are they practicing Santeria? Okay. It's so bad because you can apply this to about any war going on in the world. It's sad. You seeing right now the war again. Women and children has always suffered in the era of patriarchs. We are the food that feeds that monster. They have to have it. They have to own women and children to feed into that. And if you sit down and think about it, you think that these patriarchs are marrying grown women in this Bible. No, these are children. They're telling you they women, but these are children these men are marrying. And some of these women were not wanting to marry them. When they're telling you a concubine, we're not talking about a poly relationship. No, we're talking about slaves. Women and children were the first slaves. They practiced colonization on you first. That's how they knew it was gonna work. They practiced brainwashing with that Bible on you first before they said, "Hey, we can use this on everybody if it work on them." And they are the cosmic being. If it work and brainwash them, damn, and make them forget, we can use this on the whole world. The trial was on you first, okay? But we always hear from them protect the women and children. I say this, and I know men, they mean well, and it's not your fault. I'm not blaming you, men, because you were miseducated about who you are. It ain't your fault to accept what it is, okay? And what I say is, and they propel them to the front like that. I don't know why they propel these men to the front when they think they woke or they have spiritual awareness. This person is not, don't give birth to anyone, okay? You should not be telling the story of humanity if you don't give birth to children. I don't even know why your mouth is moving. Now, you could tell your story about men, but to tell a story of whole humanity had everything. You are the one, your species is the one who wreaked havoc on humanity. Just get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. You don't give birth to children. You're not going to get that story right. Okay. And I don't know if you're doing it on purpose, or you just don't know. I don't know. But you shouldn't want to, and you shouldn't want to be telling anything, a story, anything about the divine feminine because you're not feminine. You never had a baby. I don't see women up here trying to, tell us what's in a man's mind and all that kind of stuff. And no, sit down, be quiet. And even if we did, we will have more right to do it because you come from us. We made you, so we know you. So you didn't make us. We don't come from you. Okay? So you don't know nothing about us. But all your genetics come from us. So we know about you. We had you. You came from us. So why wouldn't we know you? Whatever the things you got in you come from us. So again, when they start talking, I politely want them to say, "Sir, do you have a womb?" Do you have a portal? Have you pushed any children out of your womb? Then sit down and be quiet. Have you ran a whole household and mothered children, ran a whole household, went to work, cooked, and all that stuff, and took her whole household? Okay, sit down, be quiet. Yeah, you probably do. You know about being a man. That's all you know about. You don't. Again, you don't have children. You never been a woman. All your genetics come from us. I don't even see why you would even want to open your mouth and have a discussion on that, knowing that fact. And I don't see why women would take that in, why you would want to be mesmerized by an inferior species that comes from you. It doesn't make sense. That's so true. They make us think otherwise with the Adam and Eve story. Get somewhere and sit down. Yeah, get somewhere and sit down. Be quiet. You don't need to be telling that. You ought to feel uncomfortable doing that. How you know you ain't even gave birth to nobody? And you think you taught yourself, but you wouldn't know any of that had your mom not taught you. Mothers are the first teachers. Matter of fact, mothers is the word of God upon the lips of children and men. Oh yeah, it is. It is. She's your first God. She's God in the flesh. She is earth in the flesh. She can produce food for you. She your everything. And you don't think she God? Your dad can't do that for you. Your mother is a living God. She can produce food for you and medicine come through her body. Because in the milk is medicine. You're automatically vaccinated when you take on that milk. It's already got anti uh bacterial fighting antibodies or whatever in it to stop you from getting sick. It's already in there. Okay? So I don't understand why I don't understand why you be sitting up talking about something spiritual anyway. Because spirituality itself is divine feminine. When you start looking at their spiritual practices heavily, I don't know if Christians even follow their own mysteries. Your God is divine feminine, but y'all hiding it under patriarchy. But in order for y'all to properly interface with the divine, y'all have to embrace the divine feminine. That's why you'll see that in Song of Solomon, in Ecclesiastes, in Proverbs. Those are women that look at that again. That's divine feminine. And you try to hide it. That's the problem right there. That's why some of you kind of crazy a little bit because you don't want to accept that. Okay? But that is what it is. Stop listening to these men. Y'all women will propel them up because they have taught you to worship them. We don't even worship the divinity in ourselves. You know, he is a inferior species. He comes from you. Okay? Ain't nothing he's saying that you ain't taught him. I'm just telling you the truth. Ain't nothing he's saying that doesn't come from you. Everything he's saying and doing come from you. So how can he be superior to you? Even the wisdom and knowledge he gets, it comes from the divine feminine. There's nothing masculine about it. He's reaching his spiritual evolution is to reach the divine feminine state of consciousness, which is the true Christ consciousness, the cosmic consciousness. That is a part of his spiritual evolution. That Bible is about his spiritual evolution. Why do you think he keeps saying man, 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 man? They're very specific when they're talking about women in that Bible. When they're talking about a woman, they will mention a woman. Go back and look at that. You look at it with brand new eyes. It's man, man, man. That's about his spiritual evolution. Even in their occult books, who they talking about? Man, man, man. Who they telling you they stole this from? Women. This is about his spiritual evolution. Who been trying to get it right for 2,000 years and ain't got it right yet? 2, 3,000 years they've been on the map. They done had control. I say 10,000, about 10,000 years, and they ain't got it right yet. They came up with their own religion. They came up with their own occult sciences. They came up with all, and they still ain't saved the world yet. And they stole all that spiritual knowledge and they ain't got it right yet. And ain't gonna be no man to save you. This live is amazing. Thank you for dropping your wisdom on us. You're welcome. They haven't got it right yet. What does that tell you? Let's sit down and think about it because we in survival mode. We've been through so much trauma. We've been through a gender war. We've been through a race war. We didn't experience Jim Crow. Then we got a crazy, insane person over there that's keeping us crazy and disconnected. Let's think about it just for a minute. Go back and look at that Bible because when they talking to a man, they're talking a man up in there. This is spiritual evolution. That's why you got them kings going on. That's why Nebuchadnezzar was crawling on the ground and all that stuff, acting like a ox because he didn't know God was God. Who you think put him there? They know this, okay? They know this. They had this in their mystery books. They know. Okay, and I don't even know why these preachers would even still be up there, especially as men. You cannot embody that energy. It's going to turn out crazy every time. It's going to come out crazy every time. Okay? Because his ego is not ready to sit down and let the true divine feminine flow through him. All that aggression and all that stuff going on. He was never meant to embody that. Okay. At least I didn't go on about that. The church, even the Catholic Church, even go, why you think he wearing that dress? You think he wearing that dress because he want to? You think that Catholic Church, you think they're wearing them robes and stuff because they want to? No, they have no other choice because that is the divine feminine cosmic attire. And in order to have that spiritual authority and sovereignty, they have to wear that ritual attire. That again, was assigned to the divine feminine. They put this in their books now. That's why they walk around in them robes and stuff like that. Everything is from the divine feminine. We created that. Okay, they have to wear that ritual attire. It won't work. That's what we set up. We set up that priest system that you see a lot of priests in. There were a lot of women. There were priestess, high priestess. There were no men in those roles whatsoever. Okay. And if they were, it was in honor of the divine feminine. You even have some men castrating themselves in honor of the divine feminine. Yeah. You had monks doing that to devote themselves to the divine feminine. Okay. That's what they're talking about too with that circumcision. Again, because they could not naturally bleed, again, that was natural. These men, that's why they implemented circumcision. And then they entered Christ's blood. All that it is a reflection of that. Yep, robes come from the high priestess. Okay, ain't gonna get from no man. So when next time you see a man over here, you think he awake, he woke, and all that stuff, girl, he got it from you. Don't be mesmerized by that. Okay, that's why you will see a lot of these leaders, these men that try to become leaders. And I'm not trying to bash nobody, but you'll see like Jamal, what's his name? Jamal Sharad, Jamal or whatever his name is, Brother Polite. You'll see a lot of them get theyself in the pickle. You know why? Because women, it would be more successful if women uh would be saying these things. But y'all don't follow women. You're mesmerized by men, and that's the problem. It's always gonna turn out bad when you try to. You just gonna go. It's gonna turn cult like it always do. You see what that stuff with Jim Jones, David Koresh. I just go on and on. It's gonna turn into something. It's gonna turn cult like. It's gonna go off the it's gonna go off the rails. I don't know why you think a man is the one who created the chaos. So what make you think a man gonna fix it? Ain't gonna be no man to do it. Okay, all this divine feminine. What make you think that? Cooking noodles and sharing recipe tips come in your favorite. Okay. Preach girl, I worship Linda Ronstadt. I don't know who that is. Is that your wife? Freddie Blue? Okay. Them people is not gonna do it. They don't have that in it. You already see what's going on with these preachers. You will always see a scandal with them. You're gonna always see that. And women do good to have their own, get by themselves and have their own spiritual place. But see, when we did that, they start calling us witches. They start burning us when we had all that money, we had the land and all that. They were setting us up, calling us witches and burning us at the stake. Because a lot of them couldn't have access to that land because the land was passed on matrilineal. And a lot of these witches, a lot of these women who was root workers, um, they were very knowledgeable about the land. They had a relationship with agriculture because, again, they were taking care of the land. And so they knew about medicine. And the men, they were trying to get access and get control. And what did they do? You came up with these warlocks, which is nothing but Freemasons. Okay, some of these Christian preachers. You came up with these warlocks again to defy divine feminine. A warlock is not a witch. A warlock is against the divine feminine. It dreads her. Okay. A warlock there is to defy and annihilate the divine feminine. So you had a lot of these warlocks. A lot of these warlocks are Freemasons. And when women did try to get come to gather, that was stopped. What you think that witch hunt thing was about? We was already coming together, sharing each other medicine. Why do you think our spiritual practices look so much alike? We were all around different seasons, spring seasons and things like that. We would come together and share our herbal medicines together. We'll share some of our folk medicine together. Women already had community. We already had a community. We always had our own folk medicine, no matter where we is. We pray. That's matrilineal. We already had our holistic medicinal practices because that's matrilineal. That's what our mother taught us. How can someone know if they mama a witch, a good or bad? Many men don't like women. Okay. I don't know. You have to see what's inside you, what you do naturally. Do a reading, do a divination. We returned and brought all the witch energy back Halloween. We're not going anywhere. Okay, so you have women again it's starting to wake up. But I'll tell you right now, and I see people do it. I see them doing it with Jamal, what's the word? Rashad Jamal, that's his name. People got mesmerized with him. But what they didn't what and I don't think people don't see it. They don't see it. They're again, the man shouldn't be talking. And there's too much aggression going on there. Okay? There was too much aggression going on there. And what I noticed about when men lead, they like to intellectualize a lot of things. They want to debate and intellectualize. I don't debate anyone. Okay? It is what it is. Once them spirits show you, that's what it is. They get caught up in that instead of trying to go within and grow. That's the problem. Okay? Then then he gets on and then trying to control other people. It's going to happen with them because that's in their nature. It's in their nature. That's gonna turn. You seen the stuff with Nature Boy that turned out to look good, didn't it? Then what did that turn into? Man, them girls' minds are still messed up on that boy. That boy, again, this is what happens. But when women come in here and say something, even women have been brainwashed against women. Uh, she not pretty enough. She don't look this way. She ain't married. She don't have children. It's just so many elements, again, that prevents women from really truly supporting each other. It's a trip. We've been programmed to see men in these spiritual position, yet they have none of these qualities whatsoever. That is not in their makeup at all. But we want to hold them in their standard, and we know damn well our experiences that that there's no way he doesn't have that capability. So to put him in a position that he wasn't born innately with those capabilities and want him to do something is crazy. And him wanting to do it knowing he ain't got that in him after they've been in charge for 10,000 years and you ain't got it right. We don't have world peace. We still got wars. You are still abusing and hurting women and children. Nothing has changed. And you still want to lead people. It seemed like to me you would want to sit down and be quiet and be pushing women up there in the front and saying I can't do it, I don't know what I'm doing. You damn sure do it when it comes to taking care of that household and them children. You damn sure put us in charge of that. You don't need, you can't even run a household successfully with children. How in the world would you be able to run country and nations? You don't have that in you. Our great mothers try to tell you that, but no, you thought you can own the planet and nobody owns it. We are guardians of it. We try to tell you that. But no, it don't even make sense. You can't be from here because if you was from here, what make you think you can hoard all the gold? Where you gonna take it to? You still on this planet? Don't make no sense. You got all the gold, you got all this, and you can't eat none of that stuff. And we kept telling you that. But here you go, come creating this false material. And we tried to tell you that. But no, you wanted to own something. You want to have property. That's why I say you can't be from here. Because if you were from here, you wouldn't be acting like that. Thinking you can take something from a planet where it come from. Where you gonna go to another damn planet and take it somewhere? Where are you going with this? You can't eat it. You can't drink it. We the only one get so caught up in material stuff. It's really sick. I think you'd have made this whole planet ghetto. We was rising and ascending spiritually until you started bringing materialism and all this other stuff. A false whatever. It's just fake, fake, fake. It don't even mount to a hill of beans and thinking you can own folks and control folks. That's the problem. The chart you did for me was very accurate. I appreciate it. Thank you. You're welcome, RB Brooks. Okay. Not all of y'all like that now. It's some of y'all waking up. And I'm glad of the ones who waking up and telling it like it is and calling out other people. But honey, it ain't enough of y'all waking up. I promise it ain't enough men that's waking up. And then y'all be well and y'all friends and stuff be sick as hell. I don't know what y'all got a job in here to y'all to do y'all shadow work and start helping each other. Women, we got our own job to start healing and loving on each other. But it ain't enough of y'all waking up. We need more examples of men that appreciate the divine feminine, and that understands the nature of things. We need more men like that. It's not enough because a lot of them is just high off this patriarchy bull crap that it's not even real. You so serious? Look how you say so. I just trip out because I just don't understand it. And the more that you restore your mind back to sanity and you start healing, you realize how much you've been living in a crazy world that they have normalized to us. I told you I had to go sit by my ancestors. Said, "Damn, I was raggedy." They said, "Yes, you was. You wasn't the only one raggedy, baby. You gonna fix it now." A lot of us is raggedy with this stuff. They didn't gave us some raggedy stuff, and now we raggedy and wounded and needed to be healed, and we don't even know that we need to be healed because they have normalized raggedy stuff. And here we look, if you look at yourself in the spirit, you got so many tatters and holes in yourself. If you were to see yourself in the spiritual realm, you got tatters and holes and just raggedy. You be trying to fix yourself. Esoteric spirituality, divine feminine energies, angel work, and ancestral magic. Suggest your most pressing spiritual questions. Is this AI? Is this AI, y'all? What is that in that chat? In TikTok? I hope you're a person and not AI, honey, because I don't know, I'm feeling weird about that. Okay. So again, it's not enough of y'all waking up. And I heard this young man, he instead of trying to correct them, he said he had telling me, he said, "Look, dude, you are nothing without a woman. Everything." I mean, he really trying to break it down to him. I said, "Honey, they don't want to hear you though. They want this false reality so bad." And I mean this young guy, I mean, he really tries to break it down to him. Bless his heart. But then you have them ones in the comments that's uh just fighting for stuff. Okay, they fighting for ignorance and be ready to fight women. So we have our work to do. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, especially with women with the divine feminine, healing on yourself, and then men coming to the reality of some of the things that they're holding on to that they need to release. So all of us doing some releasing, all of us doing healing from a variety of different things. And I say this for women because when I started doing my healing, I thought I was just healing from chattel slavery and Jim Crow. I thought that's all I was healing from. Okay. I was just like you. I'm healing from slavery. I'm healing what they did our ancestors. And to the ancient mothers said, no, those wounds for you go further back. And I'm like, what? Yeah, let's go back. Because a lot of this stuff you were born into too. Something happened to us as women. There's another story there besides the color of your skin. It's about you being a woman. And I was amazed when those ancient mothers, which they always come through, we have a very close relationship, start dropping things on me. And it's already in your DNA. Women, you already have it. That's why we start nesting and stuff when we're about to have children. That's why we're so intuitive. But these folks that told us we was crazy. Every time we trust our intuition, they calling us witches and all this other stuff. You better tap into that because you got the oldest DNA memory inside of you. You got the oldest magic inside of you. You better tap into that and stop listening to all these men. Maybe that they gay. I don't think they're gay. I think that's the reason why we have so many gays is that we're not supposed to have as many masculine men on this planet. And I think that's the way the great mother is balancing the scales. And the Y chromosome is disintegrating as we speak. That Y genetic is set up to dissipate. The XX chromosome will continue to be on go on because we are the strongest genetics, the strongest species. Let me say it like that. But the XY chromosome, they have did studies scientifically and seeing that it is dissipating. It's going away. That's why you see a lot of them is fighting hard to try to procreate with women. Okay, you're seeing a lot of that go on here. Okay. And so that's why I think I had somebody else getting it in our platforms like, well, does it matter if I'm gay? It doesn't matter. Spirits don't look at your preference like that. Okay, you're just energy. That's all it is. Some people have more feminine energy, some people have more masculine energy. They don't look at, you know, That's the Bible. That is religious crap. Okay, men made that up. Okay, men made that up. Okay, that's what happens when people take over stuff and messing stuff up. Okay, these spirits are not homophobic. So get that out your mind. This is just totally energy. And I firmly believe that the reason why you're seeing a lot of gays or people, or you're seeing fluidity that goes on, is that again, it's not supposed to be as much of that aggressive energy on here, okay, than feminine. It's not supposed to be that many men on this planet from the get go. It's too many men on the planet. Okay. Are the X chromosome disappearing in plants and animals? No, the Y chromosome. XX chromosome is the strongest chromosome. Now I talked about this a little bit. You'll see this a little bit in the Bible. But they said when women would have boy children, they were more susceptible uh, to miscarriage or early death syndrome. And so a lot of prayers, a lot of psalms, and a lot of prayers had to go on for the boy children. You'll see that in the Bible too. In some of the psalms, you will see a lot of scripture for boy children because again, that's a weaker species. So they were still trying to adapt, uh, you know, to this planet. Okay, it's a weaker species. The XX chromosome has stronger life expectancy when it comes to carrying them full term than the XY chromosome. You can go look that up for yourself. I thought that was interesting. I can. It's Christian witch warlock. It has a lot of hoodoo in it. I'm not understanding. Sorry, meant Y chromosome. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. Y chromosome. It is dissipating. I think too. That's why we're seeing a large increase in impotency in men. Impotency are men are younger men are being impotent more often. You have men that's in their 30s that having impotency issues. I think that has a lot to do with it. Okay, their performance is not the same. You see have men, in their 30s and 40s, and they just have impotency ED. Okay, they have ED. A lot of ED is going on there. Okay, so there's definitely something going on with that Y chromosome. Uh, Men are becoming impotent at younger ages now, and at 30, you know, they shouldn't be having any impotency problems. But I think that again, that is nature's way of trying to correct things, and she will always do it. Okay, she will always try to correct things. There's no way out of it because you have her genes inside of you. Okay, I just think that that is the way that is trying to correct itself. Freddie Blue says some, hun. I can. It Christian witch warlock. It has a lot of hoodoo in it, hun. I don't understand that statement. I don't understand that statement. Okay. And so again, we really love to propel these men, but we really need to be careful about what we're doing. You're talking to somebody who has wreaked havoc on humanity. You're talking about somebody who's not ready to sit down, get somewhere, and be quiet and look at things. And you're looking at somebody who don't birth children into this world. Okay, so really look at what really think about things. Okay, I recommend that. And in these days and times, it's good to discern. And if you want a relationship with your ancestors, a deeper walk with spirit, you're gonna have to cultivate that to yourself. You're not gonna get it through nobody else. I don't care what spell they show you. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care what they telling you. Even I would tell any person that's trying to initiate you, because I'm gonna get right in their face. ultimately you're teaching them how to work with a spirit. And ultimately they're gonna have to work with this spirit by themselves. They're gonna have to do this to talk to this spirit. Is that right? More than likely they're gonna say yeah, but you're giving them your traditions on how you communicate with this spirit, right? Because either way it go, they're gonna have to have this personal experience with this spirit. And if they don't do this X, Y, and Z, they may not even the spirit may not show up. That's not gonna guarantee that you're gonna be working with these spirits. Okay, it's not a guarantee. So just because you jump over there and eat for voodoo and all that, they still got regulations of things that, uh, again, that's going to determine if you work with those spirits. Because you got to come in personal contact with them. That's going to be the real initiation, not you paying the money for these rituals and things like that. The real initiation is when you make uh contact with these spirits, and that's when the initiation happens. Not happens because you pay somebody to do a ritual. It's ultimately going to be when these spirits come in contact with you. That's why there's no initiation in hoodoo, because once you start doing this work and accessing these inner worlds, it's going to feel like an initiation, because you're having to build these inner worlds on the inside of you and access these gateways within you. If that don't feel like an initiation, I don't know what to tell you. It's gonna feel like that. Okay. It's certain things, certain gateways you are not gonna be able to open in your mind if you have not did the work, because your frequency is not gonna be able to reach that vibration. Does that make sense? And you're gonna need spirits to help you do it. Okay, I can break this down as a science to you. I don't care what they telling you. I know what they told you. I do apologize that you have been misinformed, but I'm going to tell you the truth. Now, if you want to learn the right way, if anything I'm saying interests you, and you saying, "Hey, Miss Penny, I want to learn the right way. I want to build a strong foundation of practice. I want to be able to trust myself and my ancestors," then that's the place for you. Now, if you just following somebody and you love to follow people and you think you're gonna get their magic from them, then you go right ahead with that. Okay. Anybody have any questions? I kept you long enough. We talked about path working, and we were probably gonna go deeper in the path working so you can see how many organizations and the benefits from path working. We'll come here and talk about just path working, but we're definitely diving deep over there in our community with that. I do recommend you guys start working with that to heal yourself, to regulate your nervous system, and start communicating with your most beloved ancestors. Start building that world. And we're going on to different path working. This is the first path working uh, that we have mentioned, but we're going to learn some other path workings. And you probably want to construct your own path workings. These are your inner worlds, just like the movie Inception. When we talked about Inception, I think we talked about it on TikTok. Same thing. All these worlds inside of you. They've been telling you without telling you. The sauce is in you. Okay. The master parasite always wants another initiation. What's what you mean? What what you what you talking about, time stamping army? Oh my gosh, that statement right there was crazy. Is white okay, sis? White is okay. Okay. Good night, Miss Penny in the chat. Good night, Raquel. Okay. I don't understand that. Is the master time step armor said the master parasite always wants another initiations. Okay, so you ain't gonna get it after nobody else. You'll constantly keep on following people. You constantly I had people like that. They was following this person. I was with somebody, and I had a meeting with someone, a consultation with someone. Now she wanted to be in our community, and she was already with someone else. Because this person was famous, you know, we really have to really slow down because this person was famous. And I think they were on TV and they had a show. Then this person thought that they should be learning from them. But then when I got to assessing the things that, that was needed, I'm sorry that it's glitching. I'm sorry, you're infinite. I'm sorry that it's glitching, baby. I don't have no control over that. I wish I could fix it, but I can't. Um, this person, she was following somebody, that was trying to be. Watch these superstar hoodoo superstars. There's no different than the preachers in the church. These ones, these hoodoo superstars, these hoodoo influencers. Be careful with this, you guys. Don't let these stop looking on the outside. But anyway, I was talking to her, and what I was looking. This person had gave them a whole bunch of candles, and had them doing work, and just sending a whole bunch of their products to people. Can anybody tell me? Do you see is something wrong with that? Can you tell me what's wrong with that? This person, they were just following stuff, and these people are sending their products to them. You don't know what kind of magic that they need to be doing. You don't know if they know how to cleanse or protect. You don't know if they have a relationship with their ancestors, but you sending them stuff. I be questioning a lot of these TikTok spiritualists too. Like, why are you sending it to her? And just from interaction, I could tell she was so confused. There was so much confusion, ancestral confusion going on there. She really needed to get somewhere and sit down. But that's not what she want, because she's caught up in following somebody, looking at something outside of her. Even though I told her that, I could still sense she wanted to keep that going on instead of getting somewhere and sitting down. She was so wrapped up in some of y'all like superstar hoodoos. People that influencers. They're not true to the practice. They are influencers. Cause not only they doing hoodoo, now they selling Kool-Aid, now they selling tarot cards, now they selling the dress, now they selling the candle. Now that you don't know what is they doing. Now they talking about what happened. Uh, they have what happened with Cardi B. Now they talking about what happened over here with what's her name, Nikki. They just talking about everything else. It just my grandma always said they get somewhere and sit down, you know, just trying to make people money. So again, I think, and I'm gonna tell you at the first day, that's why them old folks telling us get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. You're gonna be doing a lot of that. That's why you won't see me. I be thinking sometime I need to make a post and say like, nah, you need to be quiet. You know, I may say, well, they tell you on we don't care what TikTok's saying. We own TikTok. TikTok wouldn't be here. None of this stuff would be here without us. Nothing is leaving you behind. You're actually where you need to be. Don't get caught up in that riffraff. Okay. And it's easy for them, because when you're getting caught up in the riffraff, you got somebody extracting energy from you as well. And I can't come here all the time, because instance have me being quiet and teaching me things. And then too, um I spend a lot of time in our community making sure that everyone has their resources. $65 for one candle, very scary. Yes, it is. Okay. When you can get something together yourself and probably be better than that, honey. Okay, you're welcome, Raquel. So again, you guys, again, I'll be coming back here, and we'll have more discussions probably about path working. And I'm pretty sure that I said I will come here and talk about saboteurs. So we're going to be talking about that too. And I hope that you're taking this information, because I laid some gems on you tonight about path working. And that's an ancient thing not a lot of people like to talk about. I'm surprised more practitioners don't talk about that, because that really levels you up your spiritual communication when you start connecting with the path working. Every time you say, be quiet, They telling me that every day. They do, girl. Hey, Goob said, sister, get somewhere and sit down, be quiet. You need to learn how to be quiet now. Okay, that you're gonna be doing a lot of that. Okay, but I'll be coming back here having more discussions with you. I hope that you take that path walking to heart, because again, you don't know how important it is until you start using and experiment with it. And you be like, oh my God, I'm in contact with ancestors. I'm really talking to ancestors in my meditation. Oh my God, it's going to trip you out. I want you to have that experience. And please come back and share it with me. I want to know. Okay. Okay. I want to know how it goes. I want you to experience with the, and of course, we're going to come here and talk about it again so you can be more comfortable with the practice. Uh-huh. If you want a birth chart reading, again, DM me with your name, your time of birth, your place of birth, and your email address, and I'll get you out an invoice and get started on your chart. It takes me a day or so to complete that. Okay. So if that's something you're interested in, DM me. Is it possible for someone to make their own tarot cards? Yeah, if you want to. I would recommend you do that after you have been practicing for a while and you really understand the tarot. Um, that's what I would recommend. If you really have a relationship with the tarot, I would recommend that. Okay. All right, you guys. I'll be coming back soon. So if you have any questions, save those questions for our next meet. I should be back within a day or so, and we will have other discussions. If I can bring something that'll help you in your practice, I will. If you're interested in knowing everything about your practice, I mean, you don't want to leave no stone unturned, and you want to tap into your magic, get over there to our community. Our link is in the bio. Spiritual Roots Hoodoo Community. Okay, love you guys. You guys take care. Good night.